There. Wait, I need to add him and him. Now everybody's
Cool
live.
stuff. Hey guys.
Hello, hello. So, I think we need to wait for a moment for YouTube to catch on. And but I think probably it seems like we're live. Yes, I'm hearing myself.
I'm
seeing
falling out
myself.
of the
Hey,
Nice.
everybody.
focus, but that's okay.
Hello, hello, beautiful folks. Okay, it needs to go the other way. Yeah.
Nice.
Hi. How's everyone doing? Welcome, welcome. Yes, we're live. Dave then confirms. Thank you very much. And drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know if you're here for the first time. That would be cool. And it's really exciting. This is episode 4 of Bridge Builders, so I'm happy we're all here. And we are here with Max Ziebell and Anne-Mieke Bovelett, who are going to show us page building with Greyd today, Gutenberg and Greyd, and an AI-powered workflow. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Do we do a little bit of like a round of intro stuff? Count out. Okay.
Oh, Hetty, yeah. Hello,
All right.
Hetty.
Okay. So this is in Belgium. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. WP crew. Very nice.
Can we
Good to
also
have you
write in
people.
the comments from our recording session here, or is that just you?
Hmm?
Can we
I
also
think you have
write
to
in
do
the
it via
comments?
YouTube.
All right,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can respond on you. I think you just did, right? So never
Yeah, I
mind.
just did that before.
Yep.
There's
Yeah,
a
I'm
bit
way
of a
behind the
delay. It's
curve
okay.
here.
Let me
Hello,
go over to
Kenny.
YouTube.
Hey, Steven. Nice to see you. Antonio
Hey,
is here in
Kenny.
Portugal.
Ah,
Beautiful.
Portugal, Antonio.
Nice. Good to see you guys. All right. Before I forget, I want to give a shout out to Jeff. Remind me of his last name. He made us a list of candidates for future Bridge Builders episodes. Finlay.
Okay.
Jeff
Jeff
Finley.
Finlay. And dude, it's insane. Like he put so much work into that. Like he just researched people that he thinks could be really valuable to have on for future sessions. And for everybody, he wrote like a short bio and everything. So, dude, really, thank you very much. We really appreciate the work you put into this.
May I suggest also something? Because I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about how about we kind of, I mean, it's just a suggestion, but I would do it for like the ice bucket challenge. I certainly would like to challenge somebody being a guest to have some new guests, and we can kind of get an exponential going here. So, I mean, if I would have to challenge somebody, it would be because I'm going to be using Pinegrow today, but I'm not an expert in any matter. I'm just using it for convenience.
To make
I
a
would
point.
certainly challenge Adam Love to come on here. He's pretty versatile in the tool, and I would love to see him here on the channel. So Adam, if you're watching, and if not, rewatch, come on the channel.
Adam did a fantastic video on accessible menus, actually.
Yeah, that was really great. And the other thing, because it has to be an exponential, because we can't just replace ourselves, and maybe somebody doesn't come, I would challenge Daniel from Brixforge, Daniele, to come on here and show us his new node-based event system, maybe like a sneak peek whenever he's ready. I would really love him to see him here. I don't know. I don't want to overstep because I'm just a guest. I'm just putting it out on my own accord, but maybe it catches on.
It's a great idea.
That's the whole point of these streams is to get people's feedback and hear what they're talking about, right? So appreciate it.
So Daniele, you have to come on this stream.
Daniele and Adam Lowe. So I'm taking notes.
Yeah,
Sure.
write those down. Nice.
All right.
Yeah, and you should get Thomas Koschwitz in here.
No, and you have to pick a second one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I have so many people to pick
Still.
from.
Think about
You don't
it.
have to decide right now, but you can nominate more people.
I'm thinking probably pretty much like every time we have a few newcomers here, and in the audience. And why don't we take a quick moment to summarize what this is about, what Bridge Builders is, and what we're doing. Brendan, do you want to do this time?
Sure. Yeah. So
No.
Bridge Builders. Yeah, I'm a little bit sick, so bear with me
Okay.
here. But I'm Brendan O'Connell. I'm a WordPress developer, do agency work, make content, and Maddie and Mark had this idea for Bridge Builders, where the idea is to showcase different builders, different workflows within those, different concepts, different tricks and things that other professionals learn from the tools they use, and they bring them to us and show them for all of us. And we have questions. We invite the community and chat to participate. So that's the gist of it. And I mean, I'm just so blown away that we keep getting such great guests. So thank you for just continuing all this momentum, everyone.
Hell yeah.
Thanks to you, man.
Sweet.
So, yeah, my name is Matt. I originally came up with the idea, I would guess, and I brought it to Mark after I saw one of his live streams. And yeah, I was basically like Brendan said, like, can we get people talking? Can we look over fences? Can we look at how other people work? What tools they use? What their workflows are? And just have a live discussion about that. So this is what this is all about. And I'm really glad this is still on, like that we're still going. This is wonderful, and that we have we have really cool people already and like interested in coming on future episodes. It's just, I guess, if we give up our private lives, then we can also do more episodes in a shorter time. So that's the next step, pretty much.
Professional bridge builders.
Exactly. You want to say something about yourself for a moment, and then we.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll echo that stuff as well. Yeah, Maddie, fantastic idea. I'm happy that we're on 4 now. So I mean, and we've had some bridge builder brain episodes in between. So
True.
Really loving the momentum and the trajectory of bridge builders. I think it's great. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from all people in the community, just kind of like opening these pathways of like understanding different people's workflows, because there's so many good tools out there, and we're learning a heck of a lot too, because we just don't have enough time in the day to actually test every single one of these. So this has been fantastic. I mean, if you guys don't know me, my name is Mark Szymanski. I have a YouTube channel here on YouTube. It's just my name. And I do agency work. I've been doing agency work since like 2018. So just trying to learn, try, and share everything that I do. If you want to see any of my stuff, just type in mjs.bio and you'll get all my links and everything like that. But super excited for this chat today.
Anne, just wanted to say that it seems like your husband just subscribed to my channel, so thank you for that. That's awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah, actually, I see a lot of people that I know that normally don't watch my live stream. So relatives, friends, it's
Awesome.
really cool.
This is awesome.
Yeah, and we already have one very, very important and useful thing. The problem with this screencast is that by the end, 5 more AIs will have launched. So he's right. He's completely right.
Just yesterday. Okay, but we come to that later.
Yeah.
More content.
Anna, do you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. If I talk too much, you just got to stop me because I've got ADHD on steroids, so I never stop. Yeah, my full name is Anne-Mieke Bovelett. I was born in the Netherlands. I come from a family of artists and nutty genius professors. Some musicians too. I got into web design and building digital presentations in 1998. So it's a long time ago. WordPress started in 2007. And I thought I knew a lot until 2020. I discovered that I didn't know anything about accessibility. And that was a painful discovery, people. Because then you realize you've been building things that are looking good, they look nice, and all you do is throw doors in people's faces and you don't even know it. So the person pointing it out was someone in a tweet who said, my dad can't navigate the web. He has to call me. He's sad about it. If you're now wondering if your site is accessible, it's definitely not. Go learn. So I started to learn about that. I have a lot of love for WordPress. I developed skills in the field of accessibility. I'm in accessibility coaching. So trying to come from yes, teaching people about the why, because the how is actually not that hard. And some would probably disagree, but that's because all this stuff is coming at them like a tsunami. I'm also the consultant hired by Greyd. That's the product that I'm using today to create whatever we're going to create today. I think it's a funky menu. Um, and Yeah, I've been enjoying watching you. I see you guys work with bricks, with Page Builder. I'm super excited about Max and his AI because there's one thing I want to say about AI and accessibility. There's a lot of resistance against AI and accessibility because you can't automate it, which is true, partially true, because accessibility is about people and AI is just a computer. Sorry, people. But if you give an AI context, it can actually help you a lot. So I'm super excited to see how far we're going to come because actually for me to build an accessible menu is very simple because Greyd.Suite just provides you with the right stuff to do
That's one
it.
thing we're definitely going to see today, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna bring Max on, and then after that, I'm gonna bring on what we are building, what we are working on today as a guinea pig. So, Max, tell us a little bit about yourself. Some people will have seen Max already on the Bridge Builder Brains episode last week, and we're really glad to
Yeah,
have you back.
thanks for having me back. Was a busy week for me, up and downs, and I'm glad that I can be here now. Yeah, I'm also I talked with Anne before. I'm also from a kind of hippie background. I grew up in Spain on the islands, and in Formentera to be precise. It's a little island beside Ibiza. I lived there in my youth, and I moved to Germany and got also into the .com era around 89, 98. Yeah. And before I was already also interested in computers. I kind of started very early with the CPC 464 Schneider computer very early on, but it was more like kids stuff playing around. And there it got interesting for me because I was a young upcoming adult and got into the whole .com era. I did a lot of probably stuff. I talked about that with Anne before. That would be really considered anti-accessible these days, and I still do because I did a lot of advertisements and they weren't very accessible and they still aren't. So there's still a lot of work to do in that regards, and I'm totally open to get my education going in that direction even more. Yeah, and since then I've been part of. Having a little agency myself, World Optimizer. We had that since 2001. Then we kind of, over the COVID time, we transferred that over to more of a network of people. And in between, I also did some startup stuff, but I kind of quit that world because it was just too much stress. There was a lot going on around 2010 in Berlin, and like a second wave here. But I got a family now, and it's just not my world anymore. So I do a lot of freelance these days and agency work. Yeah. So that's me.
Wonderful, very nice. Okay, now how do I add my screen? There. What are we building today? Drum roll. It's down there. Can you all see it? Wait, how do I do this? Like this, like this. There we go.
Yeah.
localwp.com. This is it. So we kind of made a snap judgment there. Like last week when we sat together, we discussed what are we going to build. I just brought this up because I was on that page on that website on that day because I needed to download a new version of local WP, and I thought it's not the most complex website in the world, but we immediately realized, hey, that not everything here is accessible, and also just even though these layouts are fairly easy to build, it gives us exactly what we want because it gives us the opportunity to really look at how the basic workflows are done with Greyd and with AI? How do we get to that point, right? How do we build these things? And then depending on how things go today, expectedly we're going to be here for 2 hours, give or take, or from now. And if there's time at the end, we can still. We probably won't have to look at another website, but this is going to give us enough to talk about, especially because we don't want to go fast. We don't want to just build, build, build. We want to go in depth. And that is what we're going to do. I'm thinking Anna would be a nice person to start
All
showing us the
right.
magic here. And then we switch to Max, and but we're not going to do one block of just Anne showing stuff and then one block of just Max showing stuff. But I expect that as the conversation today unravels, unravels, is that the word? I don't
You
know.
use too much AI, man. That's a school word.
Right? Yeah. As the conversation develops,
Yeah.
we're gonna
Have
switch back and forth and just talk about different approaches and different ways of doing things. So, Anna, do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I do.
Wonderful.
Hang
Go
on.
nuts.
Now let me go and try and figure out how to do that. Here
Yeah,
we
let me take
are.
my screen off here.
If I'd share my entire screen, you'd probably go nuts. So I'll share the window. All right. Can
There
you guys
we
see
are.
that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
Okay, so some things beforehand, because of course we're talking about tooling. So you're gonna get a good view of my favorite tool in the world. What you're looking at here is Greyd Hub, and I was currently in a process because I don't want to bore you out with how I pick the colors and how I set those. I have been preparing some stuff. So I've got my install here, and for those not familiar working with the block editor Gutenberg yet, because I think a lot of people love their page builders, their commercial page builders. What we also always got was when you install WordPress, you get the blog page. You remember those days you would go to whatever nice design on the theme repo, and that looks really slick, and then says you want to try it on your own website. And then when you have no articles on your website or nothing, you get this strange looking thing with a sidebar and a little menu, and it didn't look anything like the theme you were looking at. That was something that always kind of confused me. But I've learned to love WordPress, and now what you're looking at here is actually the back end with the block editor of the site editor itself. So if I take it back from here,
And I'm going to jump in right there with a quick first question.
okay.
Consider me a pretty much 100% noob when it comes to Greyd. I did look at the website, but I'm not exactly sure I understand really what Greyd is from just reading what the website has to say. But from what I can see, and also from the speed build that was done last week, it sits on top of Gutenberg, and it sort of supercharges Gutenberg,
Yeah.
like many other Gutenberg-based builders, like also generate. Was it generate blocks? Yes, generate. Like, so that it's like that. And then from another thing that I heard, even I think like last year, over a year ago, a colleague of mine actually discovered Greyd, and he was really excited about it. And he told me about it, and he actually spoke to. Now let me say, is it Thomas?
Probably, yeah.
Right, Thomas, who runs Greyd. He called him up on the phone and just talked to him for like 2 hours, and he says that basically Greyd makes any other plugin obsolete. There's no need for any more plugins because Greyd has everything.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, I'm not going to say no to that.
okay?
Actually, just days ago, I was talking to someone well known in the WordPress space, and he'd been looking at a demo that Thomas was giving in my presence, and then he was quiet for a while, and he was like, I'm trying to find something that Greyd.Suite doesn't offer in WordPress. And so that quickly became like a sentence in the next 48 hours after. And then yesterday we had another demo with someone well known in the WordPress space, and it was the same response. And if you like, I could do a quick run through of what it actually is, because they created a very strict division between content, layout, and design. And so it's not only a tool to manage to build a site with. I mean, that's just part of it. But you can actually manage multi-sites until you drop.
Right.
So what you're looking at here is the Greyd Hub, and this is my personal hub. It's a multi-site, and as you all know, multi-sites they have advantages, they have disadvantages. Now, one of the disadvantages we know from multi-site is if you use it to build websites for your customers, then breaking a site out is a nightmare. Well, this is something that Greyd slickly solved. So if I go to the first part here, you see a little bit more. I've left on the thumbnails for people who are visually oriented. You can see all these sites. This is what my customer dashboard looks like as well. This is just a demo, right? So I can migrate websites. The thing is, the guys and the girls behind Greyd, they used to be an enterprise-focused agency, and we all know these pain, right? You lose time, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Your day is by, and suddenly you think, where did my time go? There's nothing to invoice today. So everywhere you can save time, it's important. And that's where they thought, okay, let's make something where we do not have to leave the dashboard. You can migrate websites. So I could migrate this one to another site within the multi-site, but I could also go to another server and another hosting company. So this is cool. If I build a site for my customer, I click migrate, bye, thank you. All right. Then another thing I can do, I can download and import sites. I can also download pure content or my active design. And this is something most people not actively working with full site editing really know. But what is fantastic about it is you've got your global styles and your colors, your fonts, your spacings, because Greyd does give you the possibility to set spacings, responsive settings, and all that stuff that is basically missing in WordPress vanilla. And you get to download that active design. So if you're working on something and you save those active designs and a new project comes in and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I've got a couple of settings that look like that, bam, import, and you're good to go. And then you can create full templates of your sites. And for example, people will say, okay, you always have your contact page, your privacy policy, right? You always have this basic setup of a website. And I know I shouldn't be shooing WordPress about it because I love WordPress, but to me, setting up new pages is not a nice process right now. So I like it when I have just a bunch of them set up where I can throw a few out. And just to show you how fast that will go is I will create a new website. I'll call it the Bridges. Typing takes longer than actually creating that site. Bridges demo. Okay. Bam, it's there. That's how long it takes you to set up a fresh install. Here we are, Bridges demo. And then you just get a 2024 install.
That's really nice. Really nice.
Right, so I go to the dashboard. And by the way, you can all try this. What I'm doing here is showing you what the tryout version would be doing for you, right? So you activate, you go to the installer, get started, get the theme, get the form plugin, which is just as capable as something huge like Gravity Forms, and you choose the default setup. Activate them features,
I like the
And then you
onboarding
see
too.
all these features
Yeah.
that they have. And this is where this stuff comes in, Maddie, where you were saying, like, this person told you, like, they've got everything. It's insane. They've got something called dynamic templates. What they just released in WordPress 6.6, where you can have partially synced patterns and have reuse certain parts or change certain parts in a pattern. They've had that for years on steroids. That's that. Dynamic post types, taxonomies, global taxonomies. They've got pop-ups with conditional stuff. You can connect websites and content with each other. So you can create rows and rows and batteries of websites and landing pages where part is managed globally and part is managed locally. They give you quick access to the global styles and the template editor, but they also have the Greyd global styles. And this is some of the stuff that you will see when I'm building out local WP, or let's say the menu. Because what's missing in WordPress, they've put it all in. Then we have the forms, something called global content, and our own type template library. And there's an advanced search that you can use across sites. So, okay.
And it
And
seems
there's
that, so, and then there's a button all features. So that's not all. So there's more. Okay.
Yeah, there's more. I can turn features on
That's-
and off in here.
I was going to ask that. Yeah. Shit.
That one got sneaked in. That's something we're still working on. This was my dream.
Yeah.
When
Deactivate
we started,
comments. I like it.
when we started working together, the guys and girls from Greyd were asking me, but what can we do for you? Because I was talking to them a lot. I was giving them a lot of information, because to me it was just like, I don't care, just as long as you make something that creates accessible output. Because I was desperate with the page builders that I was using. Things were going too slow. So, and they asked me, what is your dream? What would you like? And then I said, I dream of a companion plugin that will guide you when you're about to do something stupid, like use an animated slider,
Yeah.
for example. And right now internally we call it the dirty little helper. I'm sure Mark is watching. Sorry if I wasn't supposed to tell, but I think that's really funny. And it will warn you and say, hey, are you sure you want to do that? First of all, it's hard to make that fully accessible. You have to leave all this stuff in. It's fugly. And second, it's bad for conversion. If you do this and this and this, it will convert better. Stuff like that. So coming from guiding, or when you put an accordion in, for example, it's very easy to make something that creates accessibility ready output. And for the audience out there, accessibility ready output means that under the hood, where you cannot touch it, the code is done correctly for assistive technology to properly be able to use whatever you're putting on that site with that element. But it's accessibility ready, meaning you can still mess it up. And one of the things I see people messing up is accordions, where they will use accordions because they want to put too much information on a page, and they forget to use headings. Stuff like that. Well, it's getting too technical.
Yeah,
anyway,
just a little side note. I must say, just the onboarding and all what you showed until now is very refreshing to see this, because we're all longing for something like this from Core.
Really?
I mean, it's coming. I mean, it's coming probably, but I really like what I see.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I'm really happy. I'm also very nervous showing this because I'm a product ambassador for Greyd. And because, be careful what you wish for, right? So I was asking them a couple of months ago, like, can't you show me how I can demo the full thing? Because I have customers who want to see this. And Thomas, he already has so many appointments. So they gave me this demo install, and well, here I am. So anyway, so let's get back to more of the...
Got a comment here.
Sorry?
Greyd should probably replace the core team. That's what Dave says.
Oh, no, but they're working closely with the development. Like on our team is Jessica Lishik. Some of you may know her. She was co-lead on the 2024 theme. She shares a lot of information internally, like, hey guys, watch this. This is coming. And she's talking to a lot of people, and they have been talking to other developers a lot, going to WordCamps, and I mean, it's heartwarming to see how fast everything is going there and how they immerse themselves into the WordPress community, because they came from an agency life, and a lot of agencies do not really interact with the WordPress community.
Mhm.
And so yeah, they're doing a great job, and the CTO Jacob, he's like Pippi Longstrom to me. Sometimes it's like, I didn't know you couldn't make that, so I built it. You know, or
And
You just got a massive bump because Ruben is here and he says, I believe in Anne. And he usually just hates stuff and yells at people. So
oh, okay.
good, man.
Oh man,
shot.
I mean, you see, I'm going all red faced. I can tell my skin is burning. Anyway, I don't want to bore you out with all the war stories, but they're
This
they're
is this
doing
is good.
great.
This is great. Also,
What
hey
is the
Ruben,
most
nice to see you.
the most fantastic thing about it is that they build the clean on core. There is no hanky panky going on. So well, just let me get into what
Let's
I
go
normally
through some
show.
building. Let's how do you go from what we just saw to
Now,
what we're
how
about to
do I
build?
go from here? Okay, so what I was doing was I installed Greyd, of course, and then this is what you get when you install Greyd. If you download the free version, it's at greyd.io/download. They're gonna ask for your name and your email address. Please fill it out. Don't give them some funky Hotmail address. You're gonna get nice emails. You're gonna get this, and you have this banner on the bottom right. But you get about everything they have except the things going up in their higher tiers. Now what you get here, this is Thomas, 100%. Thomas is a designer at heart. Of course, he understands HTML, CSS. He could probably maybe funk around with some jQuery, but he wants to do things visually. And you can tell because he designed this. And so let's say I'm onboarding a customer, right? And the customer is local WP. And local WP has certain colors and they have certain fonts and what you have not. I don't see edit page here on top. This is important for people to understand. If they have not used the site editor first, this is not a page. You're looking at a template here. So it's going to give you edit site. And then it says here, you're in the blog home. It's whatever page has been set by default to be the blog home page. And this is this thing that used to be that sidebar and whatever, right, in the past. Now, I'll just go click in here and suddenly I have stuff that I can click on and click in.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a sidebar here on the left. It's a bit like Figma, right? You get your sections and your groups, but more important here is what you get here on the top right, because this is where you start setting your global styles. And in the beginning, honestly, people, it confused me like crazy because I was an Elementor girl. So I had to get used to that, but now it feels like a breeze. So you start setting up your colors. I know people working with bricks, they love their variables. Well, this is also all variables. I can just change this color here and then see immediately what the effect is here. And let's do the other one here as well. And this is cool when you're doing this with a customer, you know, because they see their colors live, right? And then they see it happening here. Oh, I didn't make a nice gradient here, but you get my drift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a huge style guide, pretty much.
It's a big style guide, right? And of course, this is nice to have. And this is that stuff that you can actually export and import onto other sites.
Right.
But more important is, our sadness in WordPress right now, it has one breakpoint. It's 600 pixels. Don't ask me why. They probably have a reason. We cannot touch it. But we want spacing control. We want responsive control. We want breakpoints, right? Well, they got you. So Font Families is still in here. It's going out after a couple of updates because they used to give it's now in core. But here it starts. You can set your font sizes intrinsically so that you can do fluid typography. And this is incredibly important to have that. I'm trying to show this as cool as I can. I'm probably not doing it right. Because right now I do not have the possibility to start switching between screens, right? So
Yeah.
here, font sizes. When I say the maximum is 5, 7, right? But at the minimum, you want it to be a lot smaller. If this would be still a 7 rem, your screen this screen would look like crap.
Yeah.
So intrinsic styling and all that. Let me get rid of this. It's just confusing.
It's another thing I hope comes to core.
Yeah, I heard a rumor. I think it is, but
It's like a built-in framework. Really great.
you know, they're normally this is the kind of stuff that a developer would do in the theme JSON with the theme that you're buying from the
Yes.
developer. And what they made is just expose this from the core that this is not something that they invented. It's already there. So you get your font sizes. Then buttons, we don't know why, but buttons, we can't set hover states in core right now, and with them you can. And you can set all these stylings, and you have a ton of buttons and a ton of styles. And then input fields, styling input fields, it's such a headache for so many people. Well, you can do it now. You can style your labels, great for accessibility. Do not make forms without labels, people. And then we get to the biggest goodies here, spacing. Now you're the master of the universe. You get to set your spacing intrinsically. You can use clamp. You can use min, max, width if you like. You can even do static spacing, but I do like the clamp because again, I do not want to worry with all those 862 different screen sizes that we have these days, whether something is pixel perfect. It's got to work. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we live in clamp times.
Yeah. And if you go here, if you go to the styles here and you go to layout, for example, if you're in vanilla WordPress, you have the block spacing and it's going to give you small, tiny, and medium, but you don't get to decide what small, a medium, and large is. So, but with great styles, like I said, you're the master of the universe or the mistress. And you can set all that. And then there is the blessing ever, breakpoints. So you can set your breakpoints and you can set your content size also with clamp. And because all of this is purely based on the block editor, it is super fast. So a brochure site, for example, I've seen brochure sites on the cheapest crap hosting without caching going up to 95% on mobile when they were built with the block editor. And this is a block editor thing. This is not specifically a great thing. It's just so.
Here's the thing. I'm not gonna lie, but at the moment I'm building my first project ever in Bricks using both Advanced Themer and ACSS, which for those who don't know are both plugins that offer additional functionality to Bricks, and ACSS specifically is a framework that's very popular and also they're both really great plugins. And I've used AT for about a year and a couple of months. And then this is the first time I'm also adding ACSS to a project. And the way Bricks buckles under the weight of these two, it just becomes a complete glitch and lag fest. It's incredible. Like it becomes so slow and so laggy. I know they're on top of this. Like they're really working hard to improve speed. But when I first started using bricks in 2022, I was so excited about how fast it was, how snappy it was. Like you would click and it was just everything would happen
Yeah.
instantly. And now, like with both of these tools installed, I mean they are heavy, right? Like advanced Themer just introduces a whole slew of toys and features and quality of life stuff that makes everything easier. And then ACSS just brings in, I think, like 1,500 classes and something. So yes, they are heavy, but that's currently the price we're paying for that kind of functionality, and it really makes a difference for me as a somebody who works with this and builds websites, that it's getting so sluggish and so slow, and I click something and I need to wait for a second or two for things to load. Not good.
Yeah, that's just frustrating. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I've got ADHD, and I think clinically about 7 or 8% of all people in the world have that. And if that happens and you start getting into glitchy tools and things going slow, my brain just wants to wander off, because that's adrenaline, that's not dopamine, and that'll get me to abandon a tool fairly quick. And what I learned is that in a lot of page builder, I mean, I'm not talking about bricks, but a lot of page builder, they will give you bells and whistles and stuff
Yeah.
that also slow your site, and all of that makes your site inaccessible. So yeah, I mean, it's a choice, whether you want to use all that or whether you want to use tooling that puts you that. I don't want to, because this is about agency optimizing, right? I mean, we're all trying to make a living, creating websites, creating projects, and every 5 minutes that you lose, 12 times 5 minutes is an hour. Okay, 12 times 10 minutes is 2 hours. And I suck at calculation, but imagine you have this every day, and you're this sluggish crap. Try calculating that compared to your hourly
It
rate.
adds up for sure. Yeah.
I remember, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, Greyd is very expensive, right? I mean, there's a single license for $99 a year that gives you almost everything. It's insane. If you would have to add up all the plugins that you normally have to buy premium, that's like a giveaway. They have a monthly one for 69 euros a month. And in WordPress, we're so used to it's only 69 a year or something. But to me, that was like I felt like a winner, and I still do, because the number of hours that this tool saves me is much more than what it costs, right? So you were asking about what does it give you. You don't have to get ACF. You don't have to get advanced search plugins. You do not have to get query and search filter. They're releasing next week. They're releasing this crazy query and search super duper filter. You don't have to get. It's a whole list. It's about 14 things. But right now, I'm so nervous about showing you all this stuff. It's just
cool.
insane.
I mean, like right now,
Let's
it kind
go.
of feels like a big advertising. We're
I
doing
don't want to do that,
pre-advertising.
but you asked, guys. You
Yeah,
asked.
we asked for this. We just
Yeah.
go to
No, I
getting what we
appreciate
asked for. But
Okay,
yeah, I
so-
do appreciate it.
going about local WP, or yeah. So I took the website. I'm looking sideways here because I have this on another screen. So I took their website and I set up these colors and all of them that they have here. I set up typography, which is very easy these days. You just go into fonts and you go upload your fonts or install them. Very nice for European users, by the way. If you install
Yes.
fonts from Google, it's gonna kill Google right after.
Nice.
So,
So basically,
yeah.
it gets them for you from Google and then just cuts the cord.
It's in local.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Plugin for that, one plugin less than. Okay, yeah.
It's one less plugin, exactly. Because don't we all know plugin conflicts on updates?
Oh, just real quick, perhaps AI can do this for us. Like, just want to quickly ask Max: Is there an AI? Is there a way to ban Ruben?
Okay, for
Oh,
sure.
wow. I don't know who Ruben is, but
I'm just
this is
teasing
not
him.
nice.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
reading it
He's a
today.
friend of ours.
No,
He's a
no.
great guy. He really is.
No,
So-
but
We're just
I
fighting
totally
around.
have to say I was also talking about that with Anne. I mean, sure, there's going to be one day. I'm totally convinced that one day we're going to have webmaster AI running all day, because I mean, who doesn't want to have a conscious, not conscious, but intelligent being, or not even being in quotes, be on your server, monitor the requests, monitor attacks, do the updates, ask you if something has to be done in certain circumstances. I'm pretty sure we're going there, but it's going to take a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me quickly tell you how I was going about this, because like it's not a speed build. We're taking things at a normal pace.
Yep.
I can't look at this website very long because the animation here makes me absolutely sick. But I do have to give a massive compliment to Local WP, because you can actually start and stop this animation. And that's for everybody who's watching. You don't have to be afraid to put videos or animations on your site when it comes to accessibility, but give people the possibility to lock it down. I mean, not everyone is aware there are animations that give people epileptic attacks, or like me, I lose my appetite. I go, my stomach gets upset because of looking at that. So big compliments there. And one thing everybody needs to understand, as an accessibility advocate and person, I'm always the bad guy. I'm always that person saying, oh man, this is not accessible. And to some people that may feel like, oh, here's that chick again saying what is wrong. But I want to come from, yes. So what I'm going to do today is not showing you how I build an exact copy of that, because that's just too easy. Okay. Yeah, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not a complex layout.
It's not wizardry.
It's I'm going to show you how to create an accessible menu, how you go about that, and why this is so important. So is that okay for you guys if I show you the keyboard thing? Everybody who's watching, find this site and try and navigate this thing by keyboard. Because that's the first thing I look like. Hey, I'm trying to use the keyboard now. I'm just clicking here in the left. Can you also see my mouse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So this is working well. Here on the top, this works. These blue lines, where I hear people like, how do I remove those ugly blue lines? That's the focus. Don't remove that in the code. If you really want to do something about this or influence this, do it in such a way that someone using assistive technology by enlarging stuff or whatever can still use it. So let me enlarge this so you can all see a little bit better, because I have a big window here. So I'm going here, and the fact that I'm using the tab key, that this gets this outline, means it's an interactive element. It's going somewhere. And in the top bottom left, I can see that this wants to go to the website of Delicious Brains. Now what I expect is I tap on and I come onto the next element here. Okay, I can still see it, but the contrast here is difficult. Okay, I go to the logo, and then it skips the menu. Oh, it doesn't skip the menu, but the order is really weird, right? It went from there to there, and then it goes to the menu. That's confusing because it's not expected behavior. And I know some people do not agree with me, but unexpected behavior makes a bad user experience. So I want to go to the next one. I tab on. I don't know where I am. Do you guys see anything framed in here?
Nope.
No.
I can see in the bottom that it took me to something called features, but I don't see that right now. Oh, now I'm here, WordPress hosting. So this is one of the things that Local WP could improve on. And if there are people from Local WP looking at this, come and find me. I'll happily show you how to do this, because you guys rock, you girls rock, your tool rocks, period. Okay. So what I'm going to do is rebuild this, and I will just start with the top part. Otherwise, you're all going to fall asleep. Another thing I'm going to do is improve the contrast on this, because some people do have visual problems. You know, people think accessibility is it's only for the blind. Well, that's not true. It's for a lot of people. Some people say even 25% of all people in the world have a certain form or some form of disability. And it's not a question if we get disabled at some point, but when. I mean, I'm 53. I need glasses. I can't do this without my glasses. So I'm going to improve on the contrast, and I'm going to show you a very simple thing to not overwhelm you, because I will just take the background color, get the color code. I'll go to Color Shark IO, and I will say, okay, the text on this page is white and the background is this color, and it says, oh, that's a fail. So darken your background. If I would darken the background to this color, and of course, I know I'm touching corporate colors. Sorry, people. Do this. So I will go and copy this color and then go to my color settings and say, you know what, we're not going to do it like that. We're going to change this color here. Right. Saving that. Where am I now? This will happen to me a lot. Right. Here we are. So I've already begun working on the header here. Interesting for people who are not working with the block editor yet. What you see here is the header template. And if I close this, the content and the footer template. These things are purple. It means they're synced, and these are actually WordPress template parts. So I'm going to take this menu and I'm going to check out the site from local WP, what we've got. I'm not going to bother with this top thing here, if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's do it like this. I will just create this section, and then and Max shows his stuff, and we still have time. We could maybe do it, but not right now. All right.
Oh, I skipped
All
that
right,
too, that part.
Yeah, I also got all the pages, so I can create the menus and the sub menus and be real about this. I closed it. Really. All right. So if you go here and I open this, you can see inside this group, I've got a row, another row, I've got the navigation, I've got a page list. Page list is something that some people find difficult, or the navigation in WordPress, but it's actually pretty straightforward. And my texts are black. Let's not do that. I'm going to add in another navigation. This is how easy that is, just for people new to this. You click the three dots and you say add before. You type slash and you type whatever you want to have here on the right. I'm pointing at my screen, you guys don't see that. And then I get the navigation, right? I'll just clean that out. And here I'm going to say create a new menu. So what we got there, features, resources, and WordPress hosting. Let's get these features. All right. Resources. Oh, don't type the slash. Page link. I was too fast.
I'm just trying to think back to our previous streams. Is this our first foray into FSE land? This is cool.
I suspect it is.
Yeah, it's cool to see. Thanks for doing that. The
All
other thing
right,
that
like
I
it.
remember that it was something that I guess Thomas mentioned on the speed build that he had with Mark last week, where Greyd seems to favor extending the existing Gutenberg blocks rather
It
than
does,
creating
yeah.
proprietary blocks, which I thought was a good method. And then as core adds things, they can just go and turn those off.
Exactly. They'll turn it off and nobody gets hurt. And this is, I admire them for doing that because they started thinking about this a long time ago when Gutenberg started coming up. And they were used to work with page builders and stuff. But I can't talk and do this at the same time. I
Yeah,
No,
noticed
sorry. Yeah.
that.
Go
It's
ahead.
okay.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
what
here I'm
I
gonna.
sorry, I just wanted to say that's what I admire about the approach. You can continue. I just wanted to say that I liked about the great idea that it extends the core blocks, so you have a graceful fallback if they ever put new stuff in. Also, what I really liked about the idea, I talked about that with Anne previously, is you kind of you don't have that big of a lock-in. So what I experienced when I tried mingled around with Cadence and all those kind of block suits, you kind of get into another kind of page builder, and you if that provider goes down, yes, you can migrate them over, but it's a hassle, and this is more graceful because it just features go away if you deinstall Greyd, as I understand it, because it's the base blocks that have been extended. So in a class
Mhm.
kind of thinking, if you look in object-oriented programming, you kind of just have the base class and you extend it with new stuff. So I kind of like the idea. So I just wanted to say that while Anne is
Thank
working
you.
there. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's that's that, and besides that, you are not stuck with the great theme. I mean, WordPress themes and block themes. I sense a lot of disappointment from people because they're expecting full-fledged pre-designed stuff like you could get on what is it, Theme Forest or something. But actually, what you get here is Lego. You get to do it all by yourself, and there's people who are for that, and there's people who are against that. But you actually get to build blocks. It's why it's called blocks. You're building with blocks. So it's, as you could probably see while I was doing that, it was very easy for me to create this sub menu. And I'm just going to tell the text to be white in this menu. And as you see, it already has this arrow down. So let's just save and see what is happening here on the front end. All right. So this is me tabbing. And now you see that there is a focus. And there's an arrow here, and because of that, I know I'm getting a submenu. Now the submenu looks like crap because I didn't style that yet. But the first precedent, having a focus, styling focus, is very important. It's there. All right. So
And
what we've
importantly,
got
you
more.
can go past features to the other menus rather than have to go all the way down through all the features submenu.
Yes, and what is also, yeah, you mean the skip link, right? This is, you, everybody knows, I know there's even an IKEA in India. I heard that. Tell me if I'm wrong, but someone told me. You know the IKEA experience? Where if you have to go to the loo, they're going to make you walk through their entire department. Or if you want to buy cups and kitchen utensils, they're going to make you go through the entire building all the time. This is what happens when you create a website that has a lot of menu items, because as soon as a page reloads, the focus goes to the top of the page. And so what is important is that when you start tabbing, you can follow my tab here. Suddenly you see here, skip to content. And with that, people can skip that menu. It's a fantastic user experience for people who are working with dashboards, with keyboards, whether they depend on it or not. But you do not force them to go through that menu over and over and have this horrible IKEA experience, right? Okay, so I've created this, and then they have this funky download button. Okay, this button, something important about links and buttons, people. In accessibility, you have to understand there are some rules, and a link goes somewhere, and a button is doing something. That's the way to remember it. Okay, we're all used to styling links as buttons and everything. It's a visual thing, and there's a lot of controversy about it where people say, you have to underline all the links. But I just remember a blind friend of mine saying, "You know why you are so much slower than I am?" And tell me, because he's a developer who's going at 360 an hour. He says, "You're distracted by what you see. You need to see. You cannot survive without seeing." So he says, "I understand it when you explain to me that sometimes elements on a page would have to have a certain visual attraction to you." And he can tell me that because he used to see when he was a kid. So he understands that. And I loved him for telling me that, because we're always talking about accessibility and inclusion, and that goes both ways. Right? Okay, but let's get back to this download button. This button is going to do something. Yeah, it opens a pop-up. Now, very important, when I hover this, I hope you can see it on my screen in the bottom left. It says a link /#. This link will get flagged in accessibility because it's not a link. It is a button that's supposed to trigger something, being that pop-up. Okay, so let's whack in that button here. Where am I? I'm always clicking this open, and I know people will just click into something and are a lot smarter than I am in that regard. So what I have here is a row, right? And in this row, the logo and the title are aligned left, and the navigation is aligned left, because this has been set to space between here, because this is using Flexbox.
Just going to jump in here real quick. Just want to test. Everybody can hear me again?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
Because I killed my sound server on Linux, just like a complete moron by pressing a wrong key combination, and then so I switched to a different browser, hopped into that different browser. So now my webcam is off, but at least you know.
All right. I can't see that.
But yeah, I'll probably hop back into Chrome in a moment and then hope that everything works again. Mark also wrote that you guys are hearing a fan in the background. Is that distracting?
It's okay now.
It's okay. It's
Yeah,
not
you're
that
good now.
bad.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Right. So what I'm grabbing here a popover. Right. And this is a button. Great, popovers are accessible. And now it tells me, hey, which style that you want to use for this button. Well, let's see what they have. All right, they have the secondary button. Mine's a bit fugly because I didn't really style the corners right, but let's just build it up first, okay? This is a pop over. So I can go into the pop-up, and then nice. Over here, I can also make this off canvas, an overlay, or a drop down, by the way.
Oh, that's pretty nice. I gotta see.
Yeah. And then I can tell it to be here or here or here or whatever. I could even animate that, but that's more Thomas's stuff. I mean, if you once want to see some really funky design and animation stuff in Greyd.Suite, you got to call Thomas. All right. So, and here, this is standard behavior for full site editing. All the styling stuff is always on the right, and it's always this circle, half black, half white. So
I would love that Gutenberg keeps that open when I choose it. So that was. But a part of that, I was using that because I was just rebuilding my page also in FSE just to see how it works. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at their site again because my short-term memory is like dead. Oh, nice. Well, the great thing is now WordPress gives you negative margins, but I'm still working in 6.5. So officially, I do not have negative margins. So I would not be able to create that, right? But in Greyd, I can. All right. Back to that. It once. Download local is free and it always will be. All right. I'm gonna add a content box for that little thingy there. And then this is the same thing for me when I have to copy a phone number. I have to look 20 million times. Okay, let's add below the content box, add after. You can use Markdown in the block editor. So let me get this thing here on the side.
I love Markdown. Yeah, that's I use it all the time in the forums and stuff like that. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, yeah. You know what I like, what I love them for, what they did? They wrote download local in normal letters, not capitalized. I always try to capitalize as little as possible. Of course, you can capitalize 2, 3, 4 words, but if you start capitalizing everything, it's very hard for people who have dyslexia. Just a tip for anyone who's wondering. Okay, and then it's free and always will be.
By the way, Markdown is also very nice for the AIs. They output Markdown completely.
Yeah.
Everyone does it, so that's really great.
Absolutely. Okay.
We're about an hour in at this point, and I think when we started, we were like 17 minutes in when we started on Greyd. Well, I'm gonna have to rewatch some stuff anyway because I fucked around with my sound server. But I'd hate to interrupt this because this is really, really interesting.
Oh, it's okay. You can interrupt me fine. I'm not bothered by that.
But perhaps we should, I'm thinking perhaps we should hold that thought and then just go from here to just.
Hey, I'm glad to be off the hook for a while, so I can watch what Max has to do because
back for a little.
Okay,
I'm pretty much burning up here. So,
Brendan and Mark, what are you thinking? Like, is this a good moment to switch?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's a good point to kind of see what AI can do in a similar situation and such like that. But I've learned a lot already about accessibility, so this has been fantastic.
Yeah, and like just looking at the chat, Greyd is getting some real positive feedback here. Like people really like.
I'm glad to hear it.
It's interesting. They're saying it's interesting and it's inexpensive. That's what they're saying. I mean, there's like one point where Nicholas said, I would say Greyd does give you the value for the price you pay. However, $69 a month for all the features is not much accessible for solopreneurs from other countries. So it depends on where you are.
So he's asking about parity.
Parity,
pricing.
Yeah, parity pricing. Yeah, it's always like Netflix does it too, but then people kind of use a VPN, so you always have that kind of problem then. But I'm totally for it also. Yeah, but you have a whole headache afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you guys still there? I don't hear anyone.
Evan gave us some really good feedback here, and I really think I agree there. The stream will be rewatched over and over. Let's hope so. This is important content. So thank you.
Thank you.
I like the built-in pop-up builder here. Just like you're just visually building your thing. That's really nice. Because okay. So
do I unshare my screen or do you guys leave it in?
Right now we're seeing an endless mirror.
Yeah, but do I stop the share? I mean.
No, I can just take it out. Hang on.
Okay, just take it out. Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
So Max,
Yeah, just give me a sec. Okay.
Share your screen, boy.
Yeah.
Um,
So let me just look at here. There, I'm
I'm
sharing
so
my screen.
excited about this. You have no idea, man.
oh yeah.
So I'm sharing my screen.
Perfect.
Yes, there it is.
Yeah. I just wanted to start with something just related because I was starting with playing around with as little plugins I can. Let's see. Okay, I did add some here, and yeah, I have the WordPress imported. I can go. I started with early Pro last week, and the first thing I did, I installed Microthema. And what did I do? I installed Advanced Customer HTML. A part of that's a must-have. And I was just playing around a little because I want to relaunch my page. Just to show you what I'm doing. So this is all also FSE, and I was kind of playing around. I like it. It's fast and it does its thing. And I kind of have some interactivity in there. I'm certainly going to watch accessibility when I'm building it up. I'm still not there yet. And what I just wanted to say, the first thing I did was to get microthema because just the base theme was too limited for my size. It has also all the breakpoints. It has all this this screen is a little bit little, and you can just break it out. You can just put CSS here. It has a Gutenberg mode where you can kind of just focus all the things in Gutenberg. And if you go out of the mode here, you're back in Gutenberg. So I have to edit the page. So that's my setup currently. And even microthema, as you can see, it's still there. So I can actually now I can still focus, I can still style everything. And there are two modes, like a global mode, and you have all these little shortcuts. I really like it because but I'm certainly going to go for Greyd now, also have a look because it's always more dependencies you're opening up. And I just wanted to try FSE, but from a perspective of programming, it was a little bit too limited for me as a page builder. But I still consider also Gutenberg coming from a different direction. It comes from, for me, it's you're building from the inside out. You're building from a tool that was conceptualized as a web tool blogging concept, and it got a CMS tagged on, and they still the mindset in WordPress is still very heavily focused on this blogging aspect and on the content first, and they built the whole tool this way around. I can accept that, and I don't consider Gutenberg as a full-blown page builder. I consider it as a full-blown content builder, and every tool that does something in that direction, I really love it. And yeah, I'm totally on board on my private site now, just to have an experience, because you can always be moaning around about it, but if you don't from time to time go into it and have a look and even play with it, yeah, I just would suggest do that, and also give Greyd a try. I'm gonna certainly on board. Let me start. I had this thing here, layers of abstraction. When we were talking before, I really like that the idea, because we have this overall computing platform we are all using, and it's older than the web. And then someday we had this web stack growing on top of it, and the software coming in. And then, like Anne also said, WordPress came later in 2000 Access. I was in Spain, I guess, at the time. I was using TextPattern at that time. I did some CSSs before, CMSs myself in the web stack days. And then we have all these things growing on top. And I just made this little graphic here just to show that we have this growing abstractions. And that's where all this overhead comes in. A lot of Bricks does a really great job, but it is still tagged on to something that is tagged on to, and then you have like a tool like AT, it's tagged on to, it goes out of the way. They also do a lot of static files, and I love Bricks because it's a very professional tool. And then you have Gutenberg, it's a little closer to the whole thing. And I think a lot of people kind of don't see that all this Gutenberg stuff is, if you take the FSE approach, you're actually writing HTML files. I mean, there's a little bit stuff in there, but it's totally quick, and you can version control that stuff to a server. I think that there is a big upside for having this as a content editor. I can totally understand that you have to have something on this front, but the tool I'm going to use today is going to be a little more on the side of, where did I put that? I had it somewhere here. Yeah, up here. this kind of this clash of approaches. You have this traditional software development coming from the ancient times and going into the web area and getting a little more modern and using all those kinds of tool sets. And then you have the web stack developing with this markup approach, interpreter approach, and this is more a build approach. So these two worlds are kind of clashing now. So I'm not for the one or for the other. I can see the benefits of both. What I was getting at is that that kind of this if you consider the old days, you had WordPress and it was very close to the web stack, because if we look down here again, let me have a look. It was very close to the web stack because it was using PHP and some other things, but you were basically building a theme. And the tool I'm going to use today is very close. It comes from that era. It's Pinegrow, and it basically is a theme builder. It's not a page builder in the classic sense. It builds a theme. It also does FSC themes. It's more like a Dreamweaver, and when you're done with it, you just deinstall it, or you don't even. There's an offline version also, so you basically don't really need it all the time. And I'm not going to get really deep into it. I'm not a pro user. That's why I challenged Adam Love to come on and show us Pinegrow a little more, because it's interesting. It's a little older, the project, but it has grown and it has tried to keep up. They're still very active in development, and they even pioneered some things like building your blocks visually, or what did they also do? They went really early into the whole AI game. So that's why I'm going to use them today. And I'm also showing this graphics just to make one other point before I start. The further you go away from the web stack, the harder it is for current AI that's text-based to actually reach and be helpful for you. Because if you want to have an AI up here, it has to adhere to the abstraction AT is giving you, or Bricks is giving you. It has to produce Bricks JSON or whatever. Then it goes down here. Then it has to be kind of fed into the whole WordPress, and then it reaches the web stack. There is no direct correlation. In many cases, sometimes you have like an input box like styles. That's what AT offers you, some AI on the AT being advanced SEMA. It offers you some AI capabilities to just input stuff and styles, and they're basically being handed down to the web stack. You're just using direct, but still there is an abstraction layer going on. And the closer you get to the web stack, the more helpful the current AI is. So let's get into it. Let me see. So I'm going to be using Pinegrow today. As I said, this is a little more, for some users, probably a little overwhelming. And it could use some, I say, workflow improvements. But on the other hand, it's an acquired taste, I guess. If you have used it for a while, then you get really proficient in it. I'm not very proficient in it, so don't expect me to be really quick here, but I just want to show it for another case. As you can see up here, they have pop-up HTML open, and basically you're really directly working on the HTML of your theme. So there is no layers in between and abstractions that have to be still installed to run afterwards. And that's why you can edit any kind of project in here. You can just drop in a Tailwind project. You can just drop in whatever kind of framework you're using. They have some presets you can use. You can just start with a vanilla HTML install, and then just go with your own little thing you cook together and use it in there. Okay, so that's as a precursor. Let me have a look. Let's go into the latent space. So I wanted to just talk about latent space in AI. That's up here. So the promise and the curse of current LLMs is that we have like this whole big latent space. It's in lower dimensional abstract space in a symbolic way, having all the relations and knowledge conjunctions in here. Let's call it, it's all the human knowledge ingested by the LLMs, the current ones, and you have all this knowledge here, and it's abstracted the correlations between certain things. And so you have certainly some knowledge gaps. Certain books haven't been fed into this thing. This thing doesn't have certain copyrighted material, whatever. But there, there are gaps in there. And then you also have very interesting, I just made it like very simple here. There are certainly more little islands, but you have like new knowledge. What do I mean by new knowledge? It's correlations the AI has maybe extracted from the information it has ingested that we aren't aware of. And we have to kind of uncover that. The current LLMs are not, well, the current AI, it doesn't have to be LLMs, because AI in the future may not just be a large language model. It might be a multimodal or whatever next technology comes around. But the current, we are still in the phase of the Copilot. Like I said last time we had a meeting here. So what that means for the whole latent space approach is that you kind of prompt it. So you're really in the seat still. It's a helpful companion. So you maybe prompt it with concept A, you prompt it with concept B, and you get by accident a synthesis between the two concepts. And it's in this novel space where the AI maybe has found connections that you haven't even really thought about. So a little bit like the paintings where you kind of combine a human upper torso with an animal body, or do you do it the other way around? So that's art. And then you kind of get this creative output. And that's what we like about those LLMs these days, or the AI. But the downside is the knowledge gap. So if you kind of go into this area, you prompt it with concept A, you prompt it with concept B, there is nothing it can answer with, because it just doesn't have connections in that regard. And what happens, it kind of diverts to the, I just made it like visually, to the border of its knowledge gap, because it is forced to complete. It's a completion algorithm that has to come up with the next concept, or some, if you want to reduce it, the next word in the sentence, but that's not how it works. It's a symbolic space. It's I'm getting stuff from the whole latent space here. So it's forced to do a completion. And that's where we get our hallucinations, because you kind of tell it, come on, complete this thing. It could end up being funny, but it could also be horrible for your business. And what we are approaching in the next few years, and in the upcoming era, and already now a little bit with OpenAI, is that you get acknowledgement of not knowing, and you get upcoming reasoning capabilities in these models that are coming around the corner. And that means these reasoning capabilities kind of reduce this space of unknown knowledge, and kind of build new knowledge by reasoning. It creates hypotheses. It's a little bit like AlphaGo has done it, and they kind of build new knowledge. So that's the big promise from AI that's going to come, and it's going to get much more prevalent in our everyday lives. I think OpenAI is working on it. They're calling it now Strawberry, and there are different names and different approaches. They're not all public, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to see some amazing stuff in that regard. Yeah. Here was another thing I just wanted to show really quick regarding this latent space and all the ingested human knowledge. We have like a lot of stuff that is text, or now also multimodal stuff that has been ingested, and a big chunk of that has been web pages, because they just shoved all the web pages in there. And a big chunk and overlap with all the web pages is HTML, CSS, and the web stack. So it's pretty proficient at writing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It still does hallucinations, but it's pretty. Then you have to look at all the big islands that are out there. And Tailwind is, for some, unfortunately, but for others, they like it. They're coming more from the software developer side and using components. People like Tailwind, so there's a big chunk of Tailwind that has ingested. But this is the problem here. It's when you come to the ingested content that's represented in the latent space, you have very little chunks of this new block syntax for WordPress. I mean, this intermixed with normal HTML and all that stuff. So it has its problems to know what it can do and what it can't. So just producing web block syntax isn't as efficient as. And the same goes with Bricks JSON. That's what I was coming at from all these layers of abstraction. So this is not very much out there in the web, and it's the only way in currently in Bricks to get. I'm really hoping that Bricks comes up with an import-export function in the future for a native HTML. Okay, so let's just jump into what I've done. So let me see. Yeah, I show that. These are some pages built, but we don't have to go into that now. We don't have so much time anymore. Yeah, so you can just prompt the AI to do something, and we can just jump into it. Why not? So let me open Claude AI. So for anybody that doesn't know, Claude is like the new top model. It has great output. OpenAI is still king, and they just they just came out with a very, very how's it called, affordable model just yesterday. The top model from OpenAI is called currently GPT-4o. For Omni, so it's multimodal under the hood. It hasn't been exposed all to us in its full capability. And Claude is also, many guess, a multimodal object. It's not that public. And what has happened yesterday was that OpenAI has just released GPT-4o Mini. So that's like a little a very, very cheap model, and it's pretty good. I already used it. Yeah, that's why I had this. I already used it for a chatbot. That's why I did here. It's a page I built. Let me just show that. Here it is. So this is like a ramen store, and this little chatbot down here, I wrote this whole thing myself, also the interface with the help of AI. So and you can kind of, you just click here, and it kind of talks to it. This is now GPT-4 Mini, and a conversation costs like only cents. It doesn't cost anything anymore. Okay, so let's get back. Not sure what's open here. Okay, so let's just you can just prompt Claude.
While you're going into Claude,
yeah.
It's like we talked about Claude, and you showed it in our
Yeah.
last stream, in the Bridge Builders Brain stream last Monday, which I highly recommend you guys watch because I want to get clicks, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
No, seriously, it was very interesting, and I was very impressed with it. And then Brendan actually the other day talked to us, to Mark and me, about Merlin AI, which is an app, web app, or also a Chrome extension that not only includes Claude, like it gives you access to Claude, ChatGPT, and a whole bunch of other things at the same time. And
Totally.
so it's an AppSumo right now. Actually, let me quickly share my screen, and then I'll get back. I'll give you yours back.
Go ahead.
So let me see here. So if you guys are interested, you got 31 more minutes to get an LTD for that. I got my LTD yesterday, and I think I made a good purchase.
Fear of loss, right?
What's that?
Yeah,
Fear of loss. You got 31 minutes.
31 minutes. So, I'm just.
I'm still sharing my screen. Okay.
And they're paying me for this to say this, obviously. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I just thought it would be. This might be an interesting opportunity to nab some access to Claude.
I don't think you're sharing your screen right now.
You weren't sharing your screen.
No, I'm not sharing.
I was still sharing my screen. Yeah.
My bad. Let me bring it in there. There we go. So if you Google AppSumo Merlin AI, you're going to land on this. And then you need to have an AppSumo.
But I have an opinion about those tools. So okay, if it's not, they do something great for you, because there is also another one, and it's closer to OpenAI. It's called Poe. Mm-hmm. It's a paid thing, but monthly subscription. You get access to all the current models out there. You can use them all. It even has implemented the artifacts feature from Claude for all models. It's I would suggest, if you're not on a budget, go to Claude, because the guy who's running it is also on the board of OpenAI, and it's a little bit bigger. The thing with those little ones is a privacy concern I have, because you're already giving away so much information using those models these days, and it's also a big concern in the European Union, because we don't have good models here. We have Mistral and now the little psychopathic Moshi. There are some different. It's an insider. Sorry. We have different models also in Europe, but not the leading models come from the US. You give all your data already over there. One day I kind of considered, okay, I'm going to trust Apple. They because I'm using Apple devices, not everybody, but you have to kind of give in. You have to say, okay, I'm trusting this company now.
Right.
And for me, it's the same. I'm trusting OpenAI. And now I actually included Claude also into my trusted circle. But what's happening with those tools is you have an intermediary. So you're passing all your data through that tool, and that tool is calling APIs. And sometimes you have your API key there, but you never know if the tool is actually also listening. So I'm a little skeptic about those tools. I'm sorry, I don't want to put it down.
Oh no! I mean, this is why we have you here. This is also part of why I'm bringing it up, because you're the guy to ask. If this is if I just wasted.
Yeah, but it's a matter of opinion. I mean, there are so many people sharing everything on Facebook or whatever, and they don't even care. So if you don't care, you don't care, because you say there is nothing like privacy in that sense. But there is a big aspect that you're sharing a lot of personal stuff. You're asking. I mean, Google also knows a lot about you if you ask stuff. That's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
And the LLMs are even worse in a sense. I mean, I don't want to get into that topic, but you have now in Germany, we had the Stasi here in East Germany. You basically have the risk. You have the risk with the LLMs to have a personal analyst on every shoulder, and that's why we have to really make sure that this technology is not used in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, they do say they're GDPR and ISO and SOC2 compliant.
Okay,
great. But take that for what it's worth. I mean,
I just had my little rant here, but I mean, a lot of people don't distrust OpenAI now. They have now some military guys and NSA guys on the board. So, but this is a whole other rabbit hole.
While I still have my screen open, so right before we started at like 4:57. Like 3 minutes before the stream started, I was like, Max, can you make us a nice picture for our motivational poster? And he did. So Max just went and talked to ChatGPT 4.0 that made this picture for you?
Yeah, right. I just prompted it because it's included in the subscription. You can use DALL-E.
Yeah, and you prompted that by voice, right?
Yeah,
you spoke
exactly,
to it.
by
you didn't
voice.
even
So you just told it to make this, right? And then you send it over to me, and I made because I already had this poster prepared for a recent stream. I think this is
it's hilarious.
We just want to motivate people a little bit here.
Yeah, but who you have to actually make. There are some funny memes out there because we all saw the Terminator is coming, and what's happening? The Terminator is reading poems to us.
Yeah,
in a sweet voice,
in an Austrian accent,
making us feel safe. Just making us feel safe.
Okay.
All right, I'll give you back your screen.
No problem.
Where is it? Did you unshare it?
Yeah, I unshared it.
Okay.
So let me go back to my Claude session. You can just go in here and just. I'm not gonna do much prompting. I'm just gonna show it once because it's gonna be boring. I have this little tool here, Whispering. It's also it's a very great voice transcription model that OpenAI has released, actually open source, and you can use it as a Chrome extension, and it's anyway going to be built into everything. The OpenAI came up with this tool, Site History, because they wanted to ingest a lot of video and audio data, and they needed a really good tool. So that was a precursor for training the LLMs to have a great transcription model. So, what's happening? Okay, it seems like I can't use it.
It knows we're watching.
Something with the stream this time. Maybe because I have an external microphone connected or
Stage
whatever.
fright.
Okay, but how good that I have prepared some copy-paste prompts.
Oh, you're so much better organized than I am.
Max, can you just restart that program? I mean, it was working earlier, wasn't it? Like when we were on stream.
I'm not sure what's going on. So I can just quit. No, if I quit, I'm gone. Because Arc is also running the stream for me.
Oh, I thought that voice program was a different actual application.
It's a Chrome plugin. So
gotcha.
Yeah. I could probably try to disable it and enable it, but I don't want to do that. This stuff like where is whispering now? Yeah, debugging on live stream, nice. Oh no, cancel. Where is it? Oh, up here. Fehler. Okay, let's go again. Let's see. Hopefully it works. And it's gone from my. Oh no, it's not working. Doesn't matter. People that have seen the last stream, I like to use my voice to prompt the engine, but you can also just type in here. And if you get Claude, you can't use your voice, so you need a tool like that. It doesn't matter. Let's just move on. So what I did, first prompt, I can just show the prompt. It's basically, I just said, please create, let me make that bigger. Please create a web page as closely as possible, include colors, menu layout, and use the placeholder images. The middle part should consist of 2 columns. The right side should have 1 placeholder image and a smaller placeholder image for the robot positioned absolutely relative to the right placeholder, and blah, blah, blah. I just kind of looked at the design and voiced it out. I just copied that into here for the case we're just having, and also just to have a reference and not to be needing to prompt everything here on screen, on live stream. And it came up with this output. So this is very basic now, and it's also not really mobile responsive, but you can tap through it, as you can see, and it's directly out of the get-go. It gave me some placeholders. And I actually just took this HTML, and you can see it here. I just used the HTML and dropped the whole HTML it did. Maybe let me show the HTML actually in its using VS Code. So it even used some BEM styling, as you can see. It did the whole thing here and gave me a nice structured. It even added some JavaScript for the accessibility, as you can see, for the submenu. This is like just a very basic prompt. And then I took the whole thing, just copy pasted that HTML, and I went over to, let me see, let me close this. I went over to Tailwind, what I'm talking about here, this is Tailwind, isn't it? I went over to Pinegrow. So a little bit, this looks a little bit kind of funny. It looks a little bit like Greyd in the sense that you have these different projects, but Greyd is much more sophisticated. I really love the migration stuff from Greyd. What you have here, you have all these projects, but they live outside of your actual web page you are currently have deployed. You can go into all of those. So I just created a new project, and then I just dropped in the, oh my God. So restart. What's happening for me? I really got a bad day today. Here was the live. Okay, now it's
there. You go.
There you go.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So I dropped that in, and what I did afterwards, I just went in, inserted, and you can just upload some images. I did that. There was 2 images. Then I clicked on certain aspects of the whole thing, and I kind of just replaced the images, the 2 images I had in my, and then I just clicked on different elements, as you can see here. Let me make that bigger. In Pinegrow, I mean, Adam Love is going to come on. I challenge him. He's going to explain more. You have like I just want to show it. You have directly the file structures here. You have your CSS. You have everything. You're working on the theme, and this is even not even a live theme. So you have also staging, and you have deployments. So you're working on this thing. You can show it to the client. Show it to the client, and when you're done, you can kind of say export the theme, and then you just publish it to the live site. So this is how Pinegrow works, and it's a little bit older than Greyd.
Very cool.
And then you have your styles. So you can kind of get in here, and you have like a visual editor here. That's where people get overwhelmed because you have all those settings, but you don't really need them if you're more like a code guy. And that's why I'm showing this tool here, because you can just enable the code editor, and you can just type away in here, and you can just paste stuff. You can just highlight stuff. You just change it, and you can also, when you have the tree view here, you have the whole nested tree view. I made my screen really small. That's why I'm having some display problems here. for the stream, because I don't like having when people have this huge screens, little tiny font. And what you can do is you can just edit stuff here, and you can insert before, and you have a complete. This is a whole topic for itself. So you can like insert at the beginning, and this is overwhelming for the beginning. Give yourself 1 day or two and just playing around with the interface, how it works. But this is not a Pinegrow tutorial. I used this tool because I just could open the index HTML I have here. I just open it here in my little like VS Code thing. I just can drop in the whole HTML and I'm done. So I can just take the output from the LMM, and then I can just visually click on stuff and work on it. And I even have a little built-in AI here to go further down the drain. I think that's the wrong expression.
You're going down the drain, man.
And you have this WordPress tab here. So this is all the stuff all the WordPress functions, but they are really low level, so that you don't even go through the block editor here. You're actually inserting PHP stuff if you're working on a classic theme, and you insert block-based stuff if you're working on an FSE theme. So this is all very low level stuff, because this thing is not a page builder; it's a theme builder. And that's why we can't compare it directly. And I like the concept because it gives you a peace of mind, because there is no update coming in from Elementor that breaks your whole website. It's you who breaks the website, because you deploy the wrong thing, but you have a rollback.
Yeah, but so this has best of both worlds. I mean, this has visual, and I do like the way that, I mean, maybe you get to choose it, but this is something that drives me nuts in Bricks is 5 million things on the left and 7 million things on the right, and I'm just distracted by that all the time.
Yeah, and no, here everything is dockable. You can dock everything. You can take the whole panel, and you can just move that thing, make it bigger, smaller. You can use that thing and say, I want to have my structure tree over here, and then you have a new layout. So this
I see another big advantage here, Max, because it gives you the clean the what do you say, the cold HTML. And if it happens to be one of those div hosts, which means it would pack everything in the divs and not use proper sectioning or whatever, if you understand what you're doing as a coder, it's very easy to make that into semantic elements. This is fantastic stuff.
I mean, this is completely as professional as it gets, because professional one way or the other, you're basically using the web stack here. And if we go back to that image where I showed in the beginning, it's really low level. And then you playing, you kind of exporting all your stuff to WordPress. The nice thing, I mean, this is I'm now doing a Pinegrow. You can actually export. You can publish pages here. You can download the theme as a zip, as you said, with Greyd as well. You can do staging, and what you can also do I don't see it right now here, but you can just export the whole thing as a static website to Netlify if you want. So you can use this as a tool, because there is also an offline version, and you can just create a static website with this. You don't need to use WordPress.
Yeah, and I'll just add also really quick. It doesn't also have to be a theme builder. That is one of the main features of it. But you can, if you want to use it alongside another theme, you can build custom blocks with it as well. Yeah, and then those just create plugins.
And that's what I have here. If I go to my project dashboard, I have it installed as a plugin. That's a recent development, because it was always a desktop app, and you could you used it offline, and you could do all. Then you just deployed your website up to the cloud, and you could still do that. They still have that product. But they also have this plugin version that's really nice. You can just install it alongside Bricks even.
It's never been easier to actually use. I remember when I first looked at it, it was very intimidating. I was like, I have to download local and make sure I have all that set up. But it's pretty easy. So anyway.
So now enough with the
Just for myself, real quick. I feel like I'm always kind of lagging behind, or I need to kind of ask my guests to recap what I just saw.
Sure, go ahead.
So basically, the AI part so far has been that you use Claude. You told it, hey, rebuild that page for me, and then it basically gave you HTML and other code that you need.
Yeah, pretty clean HTML, as you saw.
Exactly, and then now you're using in WordPress, you're using Pinegrow to just you just threw that code in, right? Like you just gave it,
Yeah,
you just got it
copy
from,
paste.
and you're answering a major question for me there, because going in is like me being a Bricks user, and then before then a Beaver Builder user. Um, I was wondering, like, if I use a page builder, how do I even put AI into my page building, integrate AI into my page building workflow? And yeah, as you described at the beginning, with these layers of abstraction, you don't really, because like as soon as you get to Bricks and Gutenberg, you're like, how do we, like the AI gives you HTML, right?
Mhm.
Bricks JSON, yeah, okay, yeah. But it gets more difficult, and it's from the way I understand it, and now please correct me if I'm wrong, but what Pinegrow does is it removes a bunch of those layers of abstraction and brings WordPress closer to pure web development as we had it
Yeah,
before
because
in the olden days.
Pinegrow doesn't come from here; it comes from here. So it's
Right.
basically it's a tool you can use to just build with the regular stack,
Gotcha.
vanilla, and then you can also do WordPress themes, and you can also do blocks. But it doesn't come from here; it sits on top of WordPress, or it sits on top, and it goes down. So that's
Right.
that's what I'm. That's why I made this graphic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
Okay,
to
no, yeah, yeah.
okay.
Okay, so I got this right. It
Oh, okay.
reminds me of my days of working. Like I told that story before, but before I discovered Beaver Builder, the way I built websites in WordPress was I just typed HTML by hand into the WordPress editor, into the
Hmm.
text field of the WordPress editor, and I had a theme with a big blank field for CSS, and I wrote my CSS into that theme. And just basically the theme wasn't really there because it was just the CSS I wrote, more or less.
Yeah.
And I
For
feel
me,
like what
also,
I'm
it
watching right
reminds
now kind
me.
of brings me back to that.
Yeah, and for me, it reminds me something is buggy today for me, and I'm not sure what's going on. Something happened. So for me, it also reminds me of the days back in the 90s when I first opened. I think it was with Netscape 3, and I was starting to play around with HTML. I was doing like demo coding and stuff like that. Before that was I was um, front page. I mean, it was Microsoft. Everybody hated Microsoft. It was a big bad guy in those days, even worse than today. It's kind of rehabilitated in the scene. And it. But one thing front page gave us is it was you had a visual layout and you had the code layout, and they were side by side. And you could switch.
Yeah,
There was a little tab on the bottom. You could switch, and it gave me so much insight. What's happening? I'm changing
yeah.
the markup. Oh, it's changing a visual.
It's what
And
Dreamweaver did for me.
yeah. Okay, so let's get back to the AI train.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm. What do we have here? So I wanted to talk about the prompt, the importance of the prompt. Then I'm
Something
kind of
else, Max.
yeah. Go ahead.
You've prepared this so great. You have all this stuff there, all these preparations, all this stuff to show. Thank you so much. It's.
Oh yeah,
I
you're
love
welcome.
that image that you made of the layers, and because
Same.
Yeah.
it makes things more logical. Like
Totally. I
yeah.
was telling the guys in the chat, like, this is the best graphic I've seen that sums up like how the dependencies work in WordPress.
Mm.
So thanks for doing that.
100%.
Yeah, and that's why I moved away from being only a programmer in the 90s, because I love the visual layers. And that's why I love also page builder and all these kinds of tools, because I love the GUI approach. And I think it's very valuable that we use the best tools at our disposal. And and we have to adhere to best standards, and we have to go there. And all the tools are converging on that. And that's why I like that Gray is so close to the web stack, close to WordPress in that sense. It's the further you get away. I really love Bricks. It runs on the side and it has all these features and has all this ecosystem, and a lot of people are in there. But it pays into what Grace is kind of also going against, is you have to fill in all the shortcomings of the old Web 2 WordPress approach. And you're paying for so many plugins. It's ridiculous. I
Mm.
was kind of overwhelmed for a while because I didn't know. I bought them all. I just Anyway, I'm a CMS lover. I had to see them all, but I bought them all also, just to play around with them. So yeah, I'm getting off track. What I wanted to talk about was the prompt. So the prompt, a lot of people, when LLMs first came out, and we talked about this image of hallucinations, you put in stuff, it comes up with really weird stuff. So this has become better. As I said, OpenAI and all, they are working on reasoning, or that the models say that they can do something. So the iterative approach in a conversation has become pretty predominant for me also in working, because I have the time. I treat the LLM in the conversational nature it has now, because it wasn't always that way. I showed that in the other extreme we had. It was more just a text box before. And you can just hone into the solution you want to have. So you kind of start just, oh, come on, build me something, do that. Oh, that looks nice. Okay, please change this, please change that. So the nice thing Claude brings to the table is the artifacts feature, because before, when you were working in only GPT, you had this conversation, it gave you some code, then you press the copy button, and I had like tools like VS Code, or this little tool I'm using, Whisk. So this Whisk tool has code here and a preview here, and it's like and then you can just directly just copy paste it and look what basically artifacts now gives you out of the box with Claude. And I like this approach. It's good for everyday use, and you slowly come to a solution with the model. But you can't always rely on this kind of approach, especially when let's go to the other side of this whole thing, if you have a process-driven integration of AI. So if you need AI to work in one-shot solutions, so if you, let's say you integrate AI as seen in advanced SEMA, it should only output CSS, it should only adhere to certain syntax. It should only adhere, or it should only output bricks JSON. It shouldn't come up with little sentences between, or all this kind of thing. So there is a need to really instruct it to do one certain thing, and that's why we have the prompt, and we keep the LLM in check. So I called it like little guardrails here, and there is the middle ground. So if you have recurring workflows, you kind of come up with a prompt over time to not have this long conversation every time. So there's an easy way to get prompts these days. You can just ask the model itself. After a long conversation, you say, hey, next time I want to do this, could you kind of come up with a nice prompt I can just paste into the chat at the beginning, so we don't have to, so you know already what the mood is. And you can kind of use that as your initial prompt. You already have some guardrails, so this next conversation you will have with it doesn't take as long. And the companies like OpenAI and Claude, they came up with these concepts of GPTs, or projects in Claude. I saw the market started using that. So what you're doing here, you're kind of force feeding a lot of stuff in the beginning. So your conversation goes into a certain direction, and you kind of can save that, and you don't have to copy paste it and keep it somewhere in your file system. Okay, and what I did here is I started here with, let's say, Claude Tailwind. I did try it with Tailwind first. Why did I do that? Because, as I showed here, I'm pretty sure Tailwind is a pretty big part of the training data. So I was pretty sure it's going to be a good output without me having to have a big prompt. I just went the iterative approach. I just came up with a really short prompt, and I went in there. Let's see, did I save the... No, I didn't save the prompt. Okay, but here's the output. So boom, now what I also did, and I dropped in a screenshot. Before, I just limited myself to just produce what I do. I had only the screenshot of the header. That was my first prompt to GPT, what I showed before. And then I took a screenshot from the whole site, so from top to bottom. Okay, a little bit cut off at the bottom. And I dropped that thing in there. And I said, rebuild the website with Tailwind. And this is first shot, it came out with this. So,
wow.
So now you kind of...
Oh, man.
And you can just take that whole thing, the whole markup, and just drop it into, again, you can just drop it into...
I would love to see the markup of this one.
Yeah, let's go into the markup.
Oh,
because,
God, it's all Tailwind, right?
It's Tailwind. I mean,
Okay.
It's why I said love it or hate it, but it comes
People
from
love
the
it.
software... No, it comes from a software developer's side. There is always this conversation about it, what's happening with it. Let me just show that again. That's what I said. This is the big clash of approaches. If you are a React developer or Vue developer, and you come rather from this side of the game, the older software development, this was an abomination for old school software developer because it doesn't follow the MVC pattern. It mixes views, it mixes CSS with markup and model, everything in one component. But that's why they also wanted to have the styles in there, because they didn't like the cascade. The approach of the web is the cascade. We started with markup. We put attributes into the markup, and then finally we had a style sheet, and the style sheet had this really nice feature of cascading down or upwards. It's however you see it. It's attributes, and you can in the branches you can override those settings, and they cascade down into further branches. And this is a whole different mindset that comes here, but it's the interpreter approach. It's a completely different mindset, and this kind of converges here a little bit because we're using web technologies over here, and we're mixing we're kind of giving up the MVC stuff that WordPress did much earlier, was mixing PHP and markup and all that stuff, and that's why people love Tailwind, because they have all the markup contained in their component. They don't have to care about what kind of styles flow into my component, because they don't know where their component is going to live. It's abstract. It can be down somewhere deep in the design. It can be at the top, and that's why Tailwind just says you look like this. So that's why Tailwind looks often has a certain look to it, I would say. People don't like it for different reasons, but there is a reason why it exists, and it's a big market. So I use that as my first. Let's look at it. Let's look at the open with. So here you go. So basically, we're chunking in that really great big Tailwind thing. Tailwind also relies on a build process to slurp out all the classes that have not been used. But once that has happened, the CSS style is pretty small. And then you have the markup here, and you have all this inline attribute kind of style of marking here.
Did it or didn't it have a nav element in there? It went down too fast.
Yeah, it has up here, you see. One prompt.
Cool. Yeah.
I didn't ask it for accessibility in this case.
No, but this is the thing about accessibility. We shouldn't have to ask for it.
Yeah, totally. I'm totally with you.
If you build right, you shouldn't need it.
Yeah, and this slider stuff, I didn't ask for that as well. I just saw that there should be a slider somehow. Either way, I took all that markup. I went over to Pinegrow again. Why am I? Oh, I'm not in the browser. I went over to Pro. Where am I here? Let me go here. Just dropped it in. And again, something is going on today.
What are you using that you have this pointer? You have this green circle.
This is called as a German developer. He makes this active cursor code.
I'm so gonna get that.
Yeah, that's really great. You can even magnify stuff. Let me see. I've never used the magnification. Let me see. There is you can even go like this.
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
okay, I'm going to use this now. So when you work in Tailwind now, you can kind of and Pinegrow has a complete Tailwind integration and does a lot of stuff. I don't want to go into Pinegrow now. You can press 2 times the Shift key, then this flying little hover thing comes to your mouse, and you have all these Tailwind classes here. You can just paint something with those Tailwind classes. You see, it's all visual. And there's a paint mode and a set mode. Where in the paint mode you can just pick one color, and then you just click a lot of stuff, and you can just repaint it. So what I would do here is I would kind of upload images, and then you can just go in here and upload images to your project. And now you're asking yourself, why doesn't it have the images already? In the other project, it had the image. What I said, each Pinegrow project is its own little world. And only if you publish it or you deploy it, then it will become active on your website. Okay, enough Tailwind. I'm boring people that don't use it. I don't use it all the time. I just use it sometimes. I think in the WordPress ecosystem quickly was adopting it. Got a little backlash for that. Sadly, I think it's coming back now, and I hope there's at least one player doing the Tailwind game, because there are a lot of software developers that would have a professional software developers that would have an influx that are already using it elsewhere in their company, and then have the knowledge about it, and they cover influx into WordPress. Maybe I'm hoping for that, but I don't want to. Then let's go into full site editing. So. I did show that. So next I went over to GPT-4 and I asked it for the BEM methodology, and I did a simple prompt. I just want to show the prompt. So I'm calling this a simple prompt to just give it some guardrails. Why would I do it this way? Just because for the stream, I didn't want to bore you guys. I wanted to run this prompt here live. We can do it, but we don't have to because we're late on time. What I did here is I just spoke into my microphone. That's all my microphone up here. What I did, that's just a Claude thing. I just put in another placeholder documentation from placeholder CO, because Claude has its own placeholder thing and uses a relative path, and when you download it, it looks garbage. And then I also inputted the font I wanted to use. I said, okay, get this Google font here. I know we should have local font. I just wanted to have it look nice when I'm prompting. So I took this whole thing and I threw it into GPT-4, and it came up with this web page. Looks much different, as you see. That's why I like Claude, but it can also do. But it's workable. It's workable. It has a slider here, but you see there is a big range of what the outcome is. What I wanted to say about AI and the current AI as being a co-pilot in our current age, and it's not being smarter than humans still, is what it has. It brings it brings like a mass production to a certain area that would cost a lot of development time. You could run this prompt 10 times and pick the best result. Or you could run this prompt 10 times, pick the best result, and work from there and prompt more, and then download the thing. It's getting faster and faster and cheaper. So that's why I'm saying this is going to be a way a lot of people get their boilerplates. I just wanted to show also an example like this, that it didn't really get what I wanted it to do, but it got better with other prompting. So I'm going to get there. So let's say I thought, oh, okay, GPT, I know you can do better. I did a complex prompt. So I usually wouldn't do a complex prompt because I would talk to it for a while. But for the stream, I came up with this here. So it's the funny thing, how did I come up with this prompt? I just dropped in the screenshot and I asked it what it sees. It should make me a list. And then we came up with this markdown, and I added some stuff where I saw, okay, this didn't get it right. And then I just made this list more comprehensive.
Oh, that is so smart. Asking it what it sees.
Yeah, and at the bottom, section by section, and then I also kind of put in things it didn't see, because there was like here in the navigation. I said, okay, where is it? Just let me make it bigger. Slider somewhere. I just put in how the navigation should work. Here, navigation has a structure, opens on tabbing on hover, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. And down here I put again like this placeholder stuff. That's just repeating the theme here at this point. What does it come up with? Much closer. So we got this thing now. Even works a little bit. Here's a background image missing, but it's already pretty good for one shot. And you could run this 10 times. You could refine it even further. Let's tab. Let's see if tabbing works. Yeah, tabbing works, but let's see how. No submenus. Okay, so it's still not really there with accessibility. And let's see what we got. Then I went over to Claude. I did the same thing. BEM methodology. I'm not sure if I think I'd used the complex prompt in this one, and it was really good. I mean, just have a look at it. I mean, look, even the fade outs here on the sides.
Yeah.
Look at the slider here. I mean,
yeah, they're all even too.
Damn, it's working right out of the box. You have all this stuff here. You have the footer,
This is
and
crazy.
yeah, it's really crazy what you can do. And then you just drop the whole markup into Pinegrow or a tool like that near to the web stack, and you just start editing.
Did
Because
you
then it's
did
still
you
you in the
um
driver's seat.
did you check or did you ask it to do that responsive to make sure it's responsive?
Oh, let's have a look in a moment. Let's go into the code for a sec. So yeah, it used the nav menu. It used ULs. Does it have? Yeah, I think it's not really responsive. Or does it do it by script?
It
No,
did make the
I think
sub menus. It looks like, right?
yeah, it does. I did make submenus. So let's give that a try. Um, so okay, let's tab. Oh, it's somewhere down here. I have to start at the
Oh, you
top.
can get back with the shift tab.
Okay, shift tab. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, it tabs. It
cool.
automatically opens them. You see, look, it tabs through, and
That
when
is
you're at the
interesting.
end, it goes to this one, and it goes to the next one, and it's to the next one. So sometimes people don't like it because you're forced into the submenu. But I mean, for one shot, it's really great. You could now say, "Oh, don't tab into it right away," and I did that later. Okay,
The amazing stuff.
so let me show you the next iteration I went over. I think we're at the end already. This is all just the prompts I had.
And it's like
Just
important to remember, like this is just going to get better, right?
it's just
This
gonna get
is
better.
Yeah.
It's the
it's going to
worst.
get easier to do.
Yeah. And as I said yesterday, GPT-4 dropped the mini version. It's certainly worse than GPT-4, and GPT-4 wasn't the best, as you've seen here, but it was cheap. So I'm going to expect this GPT-4 mini to be in every tool going forward for now, because you know what it costs? It costs 15 cents for 1 million tokens. It's nothing. It's air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 60 cents for feedback, also for 1 million tokens. So input tokens 15 cents, output tokens 60 cents. That's nothing. And if you do batch conversion, so you can do you say my prompt is not that important, I don't need it right back, so it doesn't come back in 1 second, it comes back in 10 seconds, you can get even half price. It's crazy. It's just crazy what they're doing now. So let's have a look at just GPT mini output, because this is so cheap. If you compare it with GPT-4, you could do 20 outputs, and it has a 16,000 token output window. I mean, it has 120,000 input general conversations. That's not so big compared to the big models, but you can go with 16,000 tokens in one go. One token is about half a word, sometimes a word. So let's look what it did. I mean, not bad, not bad. It forgot the logo. Oh, look, it has the menus. Oh, nice. Let's see, can I tab? Okay, I didn't go into the menu. I didn't open the menu. Okay, but still, I mean, it got the hover already. You could now go on further. Does that work? Yeah, that works. That looks crap, but I mean, come on. This thing has cost me 2 cents or even less. Not 2 cents. It's cost me, I think, 1 cent to produce this. So imagine this going down 4 years. This thing is going to cost 1 cent, and it's going to be as good as Claude now, or even better. Okay.
I'm thinking about the Terminator cartoon guy that we saw earlier, just smiling, drinking his coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're
Just
still in the
wait.
seat. I mean, as I showed you, you're doing the prompts. We're not in the agent's phase. The thing doesn't have its own motivation. It doesn't do anything. So if you're pressing the buttons, you're getting an output. You have to put the context in. You have to prompt it. Okay, it's going to be another conversation when we enter the agent phase, where those things you give it in the task, they go away, they run over the task, they look at their own output, they also visually, you give them a Figma design, and then you say, come back when that thing looks like the Figma design and is accessible. Then we're talking about something where we can have a little bit fright for our jobs. But for now, we're still in the driver's seat.
Max, if somebody came to you right now and asked you to build them a website like a client, would you use this workflow?
I can. That's why I had these things in here. I actually do use this workflow, but I'm still in the driver's seat. So, let's have a look at this website I built here. So it's just very animated. I think I'm gonna. It's not really for people that don't like that. And all this kind of stuff, I use a lot of AI to get those effects going. I did a lot of myself, but sure, I did a lot of those to just get all those things going. Yeah, why have it all by hand? I'm using a tool that is also made for animation, but this kind of stuff, I wrote a
Are
lot of
those
libraries.
Lotties? Are those Lottie animations?
No, it's all HTML5, pure HTML5. So and I got a lot of also the sliders here. I built them all by myself. This thing is nothing. This is no component. It's all built by Webstack. So the client wanted to have this look. So before I go out there and look for this thing, I just build it. And that's where this AI stuff gives you. You can just say, I want to build this kind of module here, and you talk with the AI and you get something back. In this case, I used also a tool called Tumult and for interface, because I don't want to just do code. And so the abstraction is a little bit higher. I used a lot of, let me just show this. I use on my GitHub, I have like 55 repositories I'm currently working on. And I did a lot of coding here, and the AI helped me certainly, because like even, let's say one of my recent releases was Hype Scene Magic. It's basically, it does for you, these images are also AI. It does scene transitions from one scene to another, a little bit like in, how's it called? Keynote, where you can just say this one element from one scene should be paired to the other scene, and you really get nice stuff. Maybe I can show it. Well, it's not really relevant now. Yeah, I don't want to go into deep to this kind of world. It's a whole other world. So what you see, all these transitions here are basically done for you. You just have to position the things on the stage. All the data is dynamic. And stuff like this. I didn't use AI directly on the layouts and stuff like this, but I used it for my library Hype's Scene Magic. So you just have 4 scenes, you just position all the things and all the animations in between. You can do that stuff with GSAP these days as well. So I get that often for work. Okay, but this is a side note now. Let's go back to the actual demo. So we have been here. Let me get back. Let's close this. Okay. I guess we went through. Oh yeah, now the best part here. I think we went through all the designs. We did that, all that. You always use folders as notepads. A lot of those are empty. It's just I'd use them as a to-do list.
Smart.
So we have the create an accessible menu with AI. Okay. So what did I do? Let me see. Okay.
Now we can see how much work you put in this, right? You see the dates and the times. It's insane.
Yeah.
It was all yesterday. I started.
Yeah.
As you can see. Okay.
You went into the zone, man.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You get AI to help you. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't went there and wrote all this. Am I crazy? I went in there, I let the AI write this, and then I went on top of it. I just went in there and changed what it didn't get right. So, I mean, do I do that nice of a format?
This is the happiest going down the rabbit hole I've seen in a long time. This is lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
Like the excitement that Max brings to the table. It's just great. Like, and I did all this.
Yeah, but it's for me, it's such a, they say it makes you a 10x developer. Maybe it doesn't make you a 10x developer, but it surely doesn't make me a 3x developer, because before I sit down and write something like that, or before I code all that, I'm going to be having one project a week. And now I'm just at night, I open my laptop, everybody else is watching something. I just open it, I talk to Claude. And just this Scene Magic project I showed before, I started that thing in 2019. It was dormant for 2 years I used it, but it was dormant. I wrote it only to work in Tumult Hype. Now I completely ported that thing over to GSAP. And how did I do that? With AI. And it took me like 2 days. And I was like, I always thought there's going to be like another 2-3 weeks when I have time. And it just works now. And okay, so this I came up with this whole huge prompt because it did some things wrong, and I had to go in there and change it a little bit. But the output,
like you're saying an important thing there.
Mhm.
I got AI to do this, and then I went in and fixed what it got wrong. So
Yeah,
what still needs to happen, and I do think that needs to happen for a long time, or it needs to keep happening. There still needs to be a human who has
yeah,
the
it's a
actual
copilot.
skills, who knows that stuff, who
Sure.
understands that stuff,
It's an
looking over it.
amplification because we are if you call it the co-pilot phase,
It is a
uh,
co-pilot, yeah.
yeah, it
You're still the
enhances
pilot.
your already existing capabilities. So
Yes,
if you're shit at your job and you're a professional, you can't use the tool
AI
professionally,
isn't
and you
going to help.
probably will get hallucinations or garbage. But if you
Yeah,
see what it's garbage, where the garbage is coming out, you just go in there and you tell it, don't do that or do that the other way. But I mean, the moment we get reasoning, and that was the big leap we had with AlphaFold. So AlphaFold was a game that kind of went in there, got really good at chess. Then they used it also on Go. So it came up with these strategies where you say, wow, it's novel strategies. Why? It played against itself. It didn't even rely on human input anymore. So if we get into that phase with the AIs, that's going to be a whole different discussion, and that's going to start probably next year. When the AI already in the training, it's already happening, but the rollout, I mean, it's system that have reasoning capabilities. They that's a nice little side conversation here. They have an inner monologue, so they have different approaches they take, and they pick the best one and they iterate over it themselves without you, and they reason. So what Claude did is they included in the latest version, they included when you talk to Claude, there is a hidden paragraph in those answers. It's called and thinking. And they gave Claude a little space where Claude can talk to itself before it answers. That's already one step in that direction. It's not really reasoning, but it's really interesting. And I did the same thing with my GPT. Let me see. Can I open ChatGPT here without exposing all my? Let me
just gonna interject here for a moment. This is the part
we have
that I don't enjoy doing, but
we have to cut me off. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in.
Okay.
Uh, the thing is, we still have strong viewership, but I don't have much more time left.
Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to show this one thing. What I did now, I let here you can see it. I deployed the same tactic with GPT-4. I'm telling it to think about it. So it's really funny. It says Max might be looking for a lighthearted break or just a bit of humor to lighten the mood. I provide a joke that's clean, clever, and likely to bring a smile. Why don't programmers like nature? It has too many bugs. So you can see the inside of the already a little bit of the AI doing its thing. Shouldn't anthropomorphize AI, but it's funny. That's techniques that are being used these days.
It's there, yeah.
Yeah, it's there. Okay, let me go back to the thing, and then I can wrap up. But I had a little more No, they're all empty folders. It's just reminders. I wanted to show you how you can transfer stuff into bricks with a tool called Swiss Army Knife. And I had native JSON. I created a project in Claude that can create native bricks JSON. It's not perfect, but it does its job. And we wanted to talk also about CPTs, but I don't think we have to do that because Kevin did start a pretty comprehensive introduction to that. And I have only one thing to add to that, and then we can finish. It's this thing here. So custom post types are. I think we wanted to put it in there, or should I just cut it off here?
We still got some time left. It's
Okay.
not like we need to stop immediately.
Okay. So as WordPress came from it's. Oh no! Wait a minute. I'm not going to go on this topic. We can do that another day, maybe not. I wanted to show this is much more important. Anne, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. My prompt? I show that prompt because I just lost my train of thought here, and then this was the output. So very basic nav menu, but you can tap through it, you can tap back, you can open it. You see, at the end, I said at the end go up. I don't know if that's the correct way of doing it, but
It is.
And so you see, you can tap back and forth without going into the menu. And then you kind of go into it.
Yeah, that's important. It's just a tip for anyone still watching. If you're creating menus like that, always put in a little indicator that says like an error or something that there's a sub menu coming.
So that would be human element again. I would have to adhere this in my list of things here. That has this is one. I didn't change the HTML output. What I did, I was iterating over the prompt to give it guidelines, and always just one output. But you could, sure, what Matty just said, you can go into this and now do manual work.
Yeah,
it's a good starting off point. And
great.
what the nice thing, just as a, how do you get this stuff into WordPress? Because we are WordPress here. You could just take the markup it has produced. You could go back to Claude and say, please convert this into, let's say, old school, a short code that takes a regular WordPress menu and replaces my static menu I have here, and submenus get rendered in automatically. And then you can just drop the shortcode wherever you want. If you want to do it more modern, you use a block. And if you want to do it in the Bricks way, you do a Bricks element, and that renders this menu we have created for the client.
Yeah.
So this would be a way to generate something with AI, package it up in one of these more abstract components, or not components, the wrong word, packages, and bring it into your page builder as one big thing. Or you use Pinegrow and you just transfer the whole markup over. I think I'm done now. I think it's a good point to end. CPTs we can do another day.
It's really cool.
Okay.
It's really cool. And I see a lot of potential also in AI helping in making accessibility ready output. I dream of an LLM that knows everything about that, because when you put something in, it's going to put that out, which is mainly the problem in accessible coding, because frameworks, components, libraries have been made by people with the best intentions in the world, not knowing that they were causing a wreckage by only using divs. But it can be corrected. So yeah, this has been a great presentation, and actually I see you use AI the way I do it, by getting it to support you to speed up certain processes, and you get stronger didactically, because you actually have to explain to something that is really stupid to put out something really smart.
Yeah.
It improves your own thinking at the same time. It's a good point.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it's this big latent space world knowledge, and it's still not self-motivated. It can produce a lot of crap. But if you point it in the right direction, it's like a big encyclopedia, and you can extract all these white little islands I tried to show.
Yeah.
There's little nuggets hidden in there. Little workflow.
Yeah, thank you all for providing this platform, for letting me in, for
being
letting
here.
me show this stuff.
You guys are getting tremendous feedback here. I can't bring it up on screen because EVMAX stopped connecting, but you can read it yourself. Jeff is really excited. This is an incredible stream, blown away by the professionalism of both Max and Anne, learning a ton. And Artful Cat was here saying, he had to leave a little bit earlier, but he was really happy with this. So I can only echo these sentiments. Like, even before in the previous stream that we had with Max, and also with talking to you, and I already knew that there was going to be a ton of content, really useful content here, and really valuable knowledge being shared. And that's exactly what happened. Like, as far as I'm concerned, we could keep going for another 2 hours. I mean, I felt at first I felt like I was cutting you short, Anne, because you were in the middle, like you were on a roll. You could have kept
Oh, I'm
building it. You would
sorry.
have learned more.
Oh, but that's
No, but
perfectly
that's the thing.
fine.
That's what needs to happen, right? Like
It's perfectly fine because I showed most of I wanted to be able to show what is full site editing, because everybody is afraid of full site editing. Even I was afraid of full site editing. I mean, the first time Thomas Koschwitz called me and he's like, I want to show you something, and he pulled out this can of block editor, I was like, no way, man, no way.
yeah. See, that's the thing. Like up until now, I mean, I'm sure we've all, or most of us, have seen the video by WP Tutz from a couple days ago, how like the WordPress UX and UI is just a shit show, and it's sort of has been feeling that way for me. Sorry,
it's getting there.
Yeah, well, but very slowly. It feels like it's
Yeah.
designed by committee. Like the right hand doesn't know what the left is doing, and the other
But
hand.
in the meanwhile, he used tools like Greyd. And
that's the thing. It feels
But Greyd
like
is
looking at
nothing
Greyd
but the
now,
block editor. It's just using what
it's
the
using
core
that,
is
and
giving
it feels
you.
like it's streamlining it. It's leveraging
But
it to
it's
build something
yeah.
actually useful out of it.
There's
Sorry
one
to be
video.
so-
There's one video I recommend all of you to go and watch. It's by Jamie Marsland. He did that 2.5 years ago. He asked both his daughters, who hadn't built a website in their life,
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen that one.
to reproduce a design. One of them got Elementor, the other one got Gutenberg. And remember, 2 years ago, right? Gutenberg couldn't even do what it can do now. So we sat around the computer, we had our popcorn, we had our beers, we were going like, oh, Elementor is so going to win this. No,
And it didn't.
Gutenberg won. And suddenly I realized that to people new to creating websites, for them, the block editor is like, wow, I can create this and I can create that. It's whereas a big tool like Bricks or Elementor that gives you all these bells and whistles, which is fantastic, but it also gives you, in Germany they say, die Qual der Wahl, the torture of choice.
It's a cockpit. But for a pilot. Yeah.
And of course,
Is it-
huh?
I get that. I see that point, that it's like it, and that's what a lot of people are saying, right? Like it introduces this paradigm shift, this new way of building websites that is more accessible, easier to learn, easier to understand even for noobs who have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, but
It's really like, for me, I really get the impression that it just cheapens what we do as web designers. And I mean, it could be just being like, this old man yelling, "Get off my lawn!" Just like photographers are like new
digital
photography.
cameras.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there's this line between new technology coming in and giving us new ways of doing stuff, and the previous ways of doing it, which are still what comes out in the end. That's the thing. Like if you build a website with Gutenberg, if you build a website with a page builder tool, in the end, what you're producing is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, stuff like that, right? Like it produces code.
Yeah.
And I think you're always going to have a leg up if you understand what's going on, if you actually understand web design. So
Yeah, but
I don't know.
I think, and that's for me the big problem with this whole discussion is, and also in other shows I watch, is for me personally, Gutenberg is not a page builder, and putting it in that category is the wrong thing to do. It's a content canvas that I give the colors to my client. I prepare the scene JSON. I prepare the blocks. If I come from a bricks world, I prepare the blocks. Now with Gutenberg.
But Max, this still happens. I mean, I create the themes, the templates part. The only difference is I do it visually. I create custom blocks visually. I don't have to code crap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's getting there. But now we can't talk of it as a page builder. It's a content, and you have to treat it as that way. I treat it as the interface between the client and me, and I'm doing the professional work. I'm giving the blocks that the client can use, and he can assemble them for
the assembly. That's it. Yeah.
And if you work with agencies, as you showed, I really love that in Greyd, you have a style guide built in. And that's what they give you. If you work like with a big client, like let's say you work with Mercedes, they give you like a manual on the hand, and you have to really watch the zones for the logo. You have to watch which colors, how thing. You'd never want to have a client be able to
Yeah.
touch a margin on that thing. So I
Mm.
would lock that thing down as hell, and just give them the things they can use. And that's where
Now, that's
intrinsic
what I
design
love
comes
about
in.
Greyd. I can
Yeah,
lock everything down. I can lock
that
thing down to the
yeah.
most minute block level.
Right.
And then that's where intrinsic design comes in for me as well, because I tell them how this thing behaves when that block I gave them, this whole pattern or whatever you want to call it then, or the different systems, falls into each other. But it's still, I designed the intrinsic design. It doesn't come from itself. Intrinsic sounds like magic, but no, behind the scenes there is still fluid typography, there is still breakpoints, whatever. But the client never sees it and he can't touch it. So maybe Gutenberg is going to become a page builder one day, but then I would
I
really
hope
wish for
not.
Gutenberg. I wish for Gutenberg to have an advanced mode. I can say I'm a developer. I'm going to go Gutenberg advanced, and I have a visual access to my theme JSON and everything visually.
No, but this is what they're doing.
Yeah,
Right now in 6.6, the first stuff
yeah,
came out. I mean, Greyd's had that for years, but now you can also do in the block editor, you can create patterns and then say,
yeah.
okay, this is
It's
this
getting there.
pattern. They can change this and this and this, and and it's also the other way around. A lot of people are like afraid that customers will break stuff, but it's actually often the other way around, where the customer is like, ugh, I don't want to touch this. I'm afraid I'm breaking this, and then they're gonna break this for you on Saturday night and call you and say,
Of course.
I broke it. I mean,
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now imagine a world where it doesn't break and they feel empowered to put certain blocks. Oh, I have a sale. I just dropped that thing. Okay, CEO is SEO is a whole different topic. But if you have like this little restaurant I showed before, and he says, oh, okay, I'm doing a barbecue, whatever event, and you can just drop something into the site, or I gave him a little toggle or whatever. That's what he wanted. That's what he got. So that's fine. And the extent of what the client can do is in the hands of the developer.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think, well,
absolutely,
I
yeah.
think we're getting into another really interesting conversation here that, again, I want to continue this. I want to continue these
Absolutely.
Well,
conversations,
let's do another session
especially,
then.
especially because we're getting a couple really good messages here in the chat as well. So let's perhaps take another couple minutes at least to address them. Antonio Carrera is making a very good point. It's a new game, trashing the platform you get for free when you could contribute instead, right? And then
Yeah.
there's people here agreeing with that. And if you're a developer, you're using it differently than the layperson. Should be anyhow. Maybe the naming is wrong. Maybe page builders should be called page designers. Technically, you do build pages with Gutenberg. And Antonio replied, all my clients use Gutenberg to edit their content, and they love it. So this is just me personally speaking, right? I'm just one dude, and clearly, I mean, it's just the WordPress ecosystem, the WordPress people who use WordPress. There's so many out there. There's something for everybody, and I do firmly believe that Gutenberg is a valuable tool that many people use to really create valuable results, right? And that's
Yeah.
the way it should be. And I'm glad this is happening. So if I'm criticizing it, or if I'm personally unhappy with it, that doesn't mean that I don't want to trash it. I do believe it has its place. I do believe it should continue to grow. There should be progress in it. Um, I'm not happy with somebody saying, if you don't like it the way it is, then contribute to it, because I didn't ask for it. It's like, yes, it's free, but I don't want it. Like, me personally, the way it is right now, I've looked at it. I've compared it. I open Bricks and I'm like, dude, I like
But it,
this. And I
but it's not
open
for
WordPress.
you. It's not for you.
It's
It
not for
isn't.
me. That's the
No,
thing.
it's for the
And
client. It's not for you.
I
So
I
no, but
have
the thing is,
something
like,
to add to that.
yeah,
sorry.
I do have something to add to that.
Okay,
The
let
one
me
thing, the
interrupt
one
that.
thing that I find incredibly
Okay.
painful is people with a massive reach not going into the channels where they could actually talk to the people directly, right? Because
Yeah.
that's how you go about things in normal life. You don't go pull crap about your neighbor in the local bar.
Mm-hmm.
First, you go talk to the neighbor. Hey, your dog barks too loud. right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is something we seem to have forgotten as a civilization. And I'm old. I'm from a generation that didn't see internet
I
for
am
the
so
first
with you. I'm so with
20x
you.
years.
Yeah.
And this is what eats me, because the other side of the story is that usually the people who are like criticizing and are passionate, everybody's passionate. So it's going to be a passionate flame war. Get your butt into Slack. Excuse my French. Go into Slack. Go into GitHub. Come to WordCamps. Come to meetups. Come to,
Hmm.
but first address these people where not everybody sees it, because you might get your mind changed. Maybe you bring some input that people are like, oh wow, I never thought about that. It's We are not used to normal human interaction anymore, and this
Yeah.
is something
Yeah.
that
You're
really gets to
absolutely
Yeah.
me.
right. And like that's why I'm here. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, right? Like we want to bridge these gaps. We want to show, we want to look at these different things, because that's what I realized about myself. Like I can look at Gutenberg for 5 minutes, or half an hour, or an hour, and say, "Ah, this doesn't jibe with me. I don't find my way around. It doesn't work the way I expect it to work. It's confusing. I don't know. This is not. I'm going back to bricks, because bricks is good. I'm happy there, right? And then I go back to my bubble, and I dismiss something because for me personally it doesn't work. And up to that point, I think that's my right, and I
Yeah,
think that's
absolutely.
cool. And I think that, and that's like, and I don't think that's what you were saying.
No,
But then I shouldn't have to. Then I shouldn't have to go into a Slack and contribute to something that I'm not particularly interested in.
I'm not telling you have to do that.
Exactly.
I'm just
And I
telling
think that's,
influencers, don't start burning people down
yeah,
before talking them first,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
that to me is
Yeah.
like,
The motivation.
Exactly.
yeah,
And
you
that's
know.
that's exactly. And again, this is what led me personally to this point, and I think Mark and Brendan as well. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. That we want
Yeah, but
to
that's your format, isn't it? It's all about like
Yeah.
connecting people, and
we want to bring that back.
yeah, and
We
I
want to
would say
bring that
I'm
back.
pretty open-minded. I would let my mind change. I go to that's why I installed now FSE for me for just to but not FSE in the sense that I can do it with Pinegrow and I can just control everything. No, more like a user, and I'm quickly landed by microseamer. But I use it also from a professional. But I'm giving it a chance, and I'm looking, and it's, I think the big word we have to take away from here is expectation management.
Yeah.
We come in with an expectations where I say, maybe it's not a page builder now. So maybe call it something else in your head, or look how you can use it in your workflow. And don't just, if you go there and you're frustrated, maybe it's you coming to the product and not the product to you. You can use it as it is now because it's free, as we said, and you can
Yeah.
use it. And if you don't want to use it, you can use a theme builder, you can use a
You
page
can use
builder.
anything else. That's the
There are
beauty of
all these
WordPress.
different layers. You can do hand coding
Yeah.
there, and maybe it's getting there. And then meanwhile, we have this discussion, and I'm open-minded and to revisit the whole thing and have it, over the years.
We could do an entire show about what changed your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did it get
Um,
good for certain people? Yeah.
I feel like I've learned today again, like in every
I did
episode,
too.
really, except the first one where Mark and I just brought the knowledge we already had. I and like I'm seeing Gutenberg differently a little bit now, definitely for sure, and especially with Grade, I learned a lot about like that. It seems really cool. No two ways about it. And yeah, it's that, like I'm gonna admit, the first time I looked at the website, obviously like everybody, I scroll down the front page, and then I'm like, pricing, and then I'm like, oh shit, this is expensive. But now, like, it's worth the price. And like I think it's, at this point, it should be common knowledge that pretty much every page building tool that's out there is
It's
severely
but
underpriced.
this is the difference between being, I know this sounds harsh, right? This is the difference between being a professional entrepreneur or an amateur. And I really mean that, because I'm one of those that had to hold over pants for a long time. No
Mm.
one is helping me. No one, when I drown, when I fall back, that's been my life for so many years. Not lately. I'm good. But this is where you start thinking about, what are you doing? This is something in general. We could do an entire show about optimizing your processes into, what do you do? to make sure that the money is not running away in the back, because people will say like, yeah, if I do this by myself, it's free. No, it is very expensive if you do certain things by yourself. So AI is saving you money. Tools like Greyd will save you money as an agency, but you have to know where your time is going. And if you don't know that, you're never going to be larger than yourself. And it's fine. Some people don't want to grow larger than they are. But I want to have time to dive into new stuff. I want to have time to study. I study all the time into accessibility, because people in accessibility never stop learning. And I wanted to be sure that if I do my stuff, I will still have enough money in the bank.
Yeah. All right. Closing words. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks to you for being here. Thanks for showing off the products, the tools, and the workflows. That's exactly what we want. That's exactly what we got.
Thank you very much.
Adam Love.
Adam Lowe.
Come here, Adam Love.
Yeah.
And Daniele, we want to see you not based interface.
Yeah, Daniele lives around the corner from me. He actually lives in the Saarland here, so I can just drive to his doorbell and ring his doorbell and then just be like, dude.
And
I know where your car is. So.
And for another episode, can I do a suggestion for another episode? I really want to see people come in with Elementor, which may be a surprise to a lot of you. But this is another thing. Everybody's trying to make the best and working hard, and they are too. And they have a name of, they're slow and they're bloated and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah, their
First
reputation.
Of all, I never created a slow website with Elementor in my life.
Yeah.
And I worked with them for a long time, so that is unfair. That is just someone playing doctor, not knowing what he's doing. You know, it's and now they have improved so much. They've worked their butts off on accessibility, which is really hard, because it's a code base and 16 million users. One breaking mistake.
Oh yeah, big time.
Totally.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
It's like WordPress itself. It's grew over time.
They're doing a great job, and of course
they're doing whatever they can. It feels a bit like saying, when you talk about climate change and everybody's like, but China, without looking at what China has actually been doing in the past years. So I totally get it.
Find someone who can show how to. Find someone who can show how to create a super fast website with Elementor.
Yeah.
And we had Elementor on the first episode with Mark, and I'm open to bringing it back for sure. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think we have a couple people in our roster that are on Elementor, right? So it's certainly
there's a few users out there of Elementor.
Yeah, and the same. I would do that with other page builders as well. I mean, did you guys see this accessibility report that Amber Hinz made about several page builders? And I know for a fact that some of them are taking it very seriously, working very hard. And you guys give these people a platform and have them come on and have them tell their story and have
we
them
reached
tell
out,
how
like
they're
for
improving.
instance, I'm really hoping we can get. I mean, first of all, the roster is big, but like for instance, I really, really, really wanted to have Ran Segal on, but I guess he's like, I wrote him a couple times and he didn't respond. So it's always a game of like.
I did just get word from Katie Boykin, I think it's her name, and she just started at Cadence, and so she's hopefully going to come on, and I know they scored really high on accessibility. So
oh my god,
yeah, and I mean, there are a lot of people out there really good, not that famous. You got to go find them.
Oh, definitely. More people there's some people in the chat were also calling for a continuing of this conversation. So you're not off the hook. All right. So I got to run. There's like the stores are closing in literally 15 minutes and I need to get cheese. Otherwise there's no dinner. Because I planned this whole dinner thing. I went to the supermarket this morning. I bought all the ingredients. Then I came home and I was like, I didn't buy the cheese. So
yeah, I know the feeling. I'm out of
get
coffee.
the cheese.
They're about to die here.
cheese.
So I'm getting the signal here. They're gonna go any moment.
Guys, thank you so
Thank
much.
you guys so much
having
for
me.
your time. We really loved it. So thanks for
Oh yeah,
coming.
it was awesome.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Sweet. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.